It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Thursday, April 4th. Wherever it's taking place, whatever day it is, opening day is pretty special. That's been the way it's been that way forever. And today is no different. This is my second opening day as a Minnesota resident, and man, I'm far more jacked than I was a year ago. I was still settling in, I think, a year ago, and I was excited, but I just didn't quite get it in terms of Twins baseball. I'm a baseball fan, but after last season and going to a bunch of games and just hanging out at one of the better ballparks in America, I'm equally. No, I shouldn't say equally. What am I talking about? I'm far more excited than I was a year ago, and it's just an awesome thing. I woke up today, and the first thing I thought was, man, that's just it's a different time of year, and it starts literally today at 3:10, and for the next 6 months, it's just going to feel different and feel better and feel just right. And Candace Wheeler, more than anyone I know, is so excited. Candace is wearing Twins gear right now.
Well, yeah.
Atta girl.
I mean,
straight
what
to the
heck?
game? Well, you're not going straight to the game. What's it, like at 3 o'clock or something like that? 3:15?
I'll probably go down there on the Jack's rooftop about 1. Some chicken wings and brew. But yeah, it's like Christmas waking up today because it's not only just, baseball is awesome and fun, obviously. Yeah. But I get to see all my friends, and it's just like getting together, and it's a special day.
Yeah, I was Steve was there as well for the Donnie Smith Bike Show, and for a lot of us bikers, it's kind of the unofficial kickoff of the season, but it's really kind of a homecoming for everyone that rides together in the summer. Hey, what you been up to this winter? Looks like you've put on some weight, that kind of deal. Your motorcycle, is that a new shiny chrome part? And Twins is very much a part of that too. Getting the gang back together, and I know it's going to be kind of cloudy today, about 50, kind of a typical home opener for the Twins, but it doesn't matter. It's going to be sunny and 75 with the smell of fresh cut grass in our minds, and it's exciting. Baseball it's the one team also in Minnesota that hasn't let us down, giving us not one but 2 world championships, and it's baseball.
Baseball it's so ingrained, obviously. But I was thinking today, this is what I would love to do if we're going to talk baseball throughout the show. Don't think. Just blink. Baseball. First memory that pops to mind. Boom. What is it? Like you hear baseball. And by the way, I mean, there's so many of them. I mean, but depending on the day, when someone just says, okay, again, don't think, blink, boom. It's like, And one of those for me, very important, and I'll never forget it. Just a moment that it wasn't watching a game at all, and it did involve the Minnesota Twins ultimately, and it was this. In 1991, when the Atlanta Braves, who was my National League team, of course, they lost in one of the great, if not the greatest World Series of all time, at least up until that point, the Game 7 Twins-Braves, extra innings, Jack Morris, John Smoltz, I mean, one of the great games of all time. That series, I didn't have any idea what was building up to it. I was on tour in Europe for 3 months. I was gone out of the country at a time when you didn't have internet, you didn't have cell phones, you didn't have the USA Today in your hotel room waiting to tell you. I left Atlanta August 1st. The Braves were 12 games out of first place. I landed back in Atlanta October 20th, and I looked at a newspaper box. Remember those? Like a newspaper box in the airport, and it was talking about Game 1 of the World Series and the fact that the Braves were in it. And I had no idea over the previous 2 months and 3 weeks that they had caught up and passed the Dodgers from 12 games back and were in the World Series against the Twins of all people. Yeah. And I stared at that newspaper box, and the feelings that overwhelmed me it was just baseball. Like, wait a minute, you don't come back from 12 games down August 1st. You don't win the playoff series. You're not in the World Series. What is happening? I mean, it was like I'd been dropped in from Mars. And just that, it triggered so many thoughts and feelings, and just, it was mind-boggling. And of course, that World Series didn't go the way I wanted it to at the time. Now I'm thrilled the Twins won that. Seriously, oh boy. But at the time, I'm not going to lie to you, it was gut-wrenching and devastating, but it was also so astonishing to even be in that position. And I'm telling you right now, if you go to the Atlanta airport, I can walk you right to where that newspaper stand was, or that box, I should say, because I stood there and stared at it for 30 seconds, which felt like 30 minutes, and I just couldn't process it. It was the most exciting. There's something about your team finally making the World Series that's just, it's it's bigger than any other sport to me. Like baseball, you can ignore it for 5 months, and then all of a sudden you realize it's almost time for the postseason, and it just gets into me, and it gets into baseball fans in a way that I know the hockey playoffs are really exciting.
Yeah.
I know the Super Bowl is a huge thing.
Of course.
But my God, there's just something in the ground and in the clouds about the baseball postseason. And now it's opening day, and I'm already thinking about how excited I'm going to be in September and October. There's nothing like it.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, it's kind of woven into our DNA very young. That's why I love to see Candace come along. Here's a generation come along just as stoked about baseball as we were. You know, there was some time, just only in the last 10, 15 years, we were talking about the game needs to be sped up, which they've addressed, and these sort of things.
Yeah.
Attendance is down, these sort of things, but it doesn't matter. It still gets you excited. It's probably one of the first sports I played. I'm trying to think if I played something before baseball, but you can't, drag a bat even. You're so small at Pee-wee. I don't know, was 6 years of age or something like that. We're playing T-ball out there.
Yep.
And it's also, it comes with summer. Listen, I'm a winter enthusiast, but let's not kid ourselves. Summer's the greatest season of the four. It just is. I love all four of them, but summer is summer, and we're out of school. So it comes with all of that, too. And you're right, the World Series, there's something about that, and it's agonizing. Hockey's fast-paced. It's happening. There's 7 games, maybe. Super Bowl's just the big party. I mean, that's the big one, right?
Yeah.
But baseball, you talk about that 91 World Series, and every pitch was dramatic. Every bat was dramatic. Every game was dramatic.
That's the thing. When you get into a World Series, literally every single pitch, if your team is in that game, every pitch. I have watched games where literally every at bat was a full beer. the stress, the tension. But the last three innings of the '96 World Series, games 4, 5, and 6 were destroyed me because it was nothing like it. I've never been that wound up about anything in my life, and I'm excited to hopefully be that wound up again this year, making mistakes, just acting a fool because baseball's back, and I'm just couldn't be more excited.
I know. We could blast through every break we're doing today, but we're not going to do that. We're going to move along here. So let's put it up on the board, up on the Big KQ Facebook page. Open up 651-989-ROCK, talking text line, talking about our favorite baseball memories. Immediately, mine goes back to Little League, actually teener baseball. I've told the story before, but you said it. Popped into my mind. Mine's personal. Is it the Twins? Is it personal? Is it town ball? We've got a great town ball leagues in Minnesota.
I look forward to this story.
Yeah, let's. I'm going to really embellish it, but most of it will be true. And we're coming back with that at 6:17. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talkin' text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
Steve Gorman, this is the KQ Morning Show. It's Thursday, April 4th. It's also known as opening day. A little before 8 a.m. on this show, we're going to give away opening day tickets. That's how cool we are.
Wow.
Oh, yes, indeed. On the KQ Facebook page, we have a post that says simply, don't think blink. What's your greatest baseball memory? And my man Rich has already come in off the top rope at a Twins game. Got to go up in a hot air balloon in the Metrodome. Hard to top that. What? What? A hot air balloon in the Metrodome. Yeah, it is hard to top that. All right, Rich.
Yeah.
You've thrown down the gauntlet, brother.
I wouldn't do that.
I also would be a little hesitant.
If they begged me, if they paid me, I would not get into a hot air balloon inside a hot air balloon.
That's exactly right. It's like when you learn how to blow a bubble inside a bubble.
Yeah.
Kind of creepy, kind of weird.
Besides, you're not getting that. I mean, it's like being up in the rafters. The view's okay, but it's not like you're 1,000 feet up looking down on the Twin State. But you know what? Hey, good for you, Rich. Why am I pissing on your parade here? It does sound, as a matter of fact, I would do it. Why not?
W. Joseph on the page. This is actually, all right, sorry, we've already got a new winner. I always equate the opening of the season with my grandparents. They loved the Twins, watched or listened to every game. My grandpa was buried in his Twins jersey and a Twins casket. It's the only wake I've ever been to where I had to take a picture. That's what I'm talking about, man.
Yeah.
This is generational great stuff opening day, and it puts me in a great mood. It puts me in an excited mood. If you want to share a thought, greatest baseball memory, don't overthink it. Just boom, what comes to mind? 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talkin' text line. We do have that post up on the Facebook page. Brian Zepp, you already said, when I texted you this morning, I go, First baseball memory, boom, and you went, I got it. What is it?
Yeah.
Like, without hesitation, what is it?
And I always pause. 14 years old, teener ball, and we're just playing, one of those. Well, there is no meaningless game, especially when you're a kid. And it came up. There's 2 outs, top of the ninth. We're traveling. We're in Wessington Springs, South Dakota. Top of the ninth, bases loaded. I come up, full count. Little scouting report on Brian Zepp. I don't like to walk. My coaches would drive him crazy. But if they needed a walk and there was a bad pitcher,
the mailman walks. That's the old baseball.
That's right. I don't like to walk. Bases loaded. And I picked, this was the greatest golf stroke of my life. This ball couldn't have been more than 2 inches off the plate, but I grabbed it with the tip of the bat and sent it on a long arc. And yeah, there were a couple of errors on the play, but it was a grand slam, in the park grand slam. Made her around. We win the game, hoisted the whole thing after the next 3 outs, of course. But, and I just remember Dad beaming, and that was like my first hero moment in sports, that had happened to me. Like I had watched the big red machine doing when I was growing up in the 1970s. Loved Johnny Bench. I was a catcher and the whole thing. So, yeah, immediately. That's the one.
Awesome. That's great. Hell yeah. And a worthy entry into the pool. It's fantastic. I only played 1 year of Little League my whole life. I played soccer. I played basketball. 1 year of baseball. It was the year I was in 4th grade. And after the first game of our season, I broke my arm, rode out the season with a cast on the bench. We won the championship.
Oh.
I got hardware for sitting in a dugout in the spring of 1975. I was 9 years old.
Yeah.
And, we were the Russell T. Baker Dodgers. That was the insurance agent who sponsored our team. Russell T. Baker. I don't know who that guy was in Baltimore, Maryland, but hey, God bless you, brother. I appreciate it.
The hats have already been made, right?
Damn straight.
We're the Cardinals, but guess whose hats we were using, and helmets and all that stuff. It was right off the St. Louis, right out of their pro shop.
Oh, that's fantastic. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talking text line. Candace, who's on the horn?
We have Doug from Blaine.
Doug, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How we doing?
We're great, brother. What do you got for us?
Went to the barber shop with my dad in '66. A lady walks in and says, I got some tickets for the game down at the Metrodome. Can you go? And he looked at me and, well, of course we were going. And when we got down there were box seats behind the Twins dugout. I was wandering around, went down by the field. I looked down on the field because that was a major league field, and there was a baseball laying there, and the guy comes up and says, is that your ball? And I said, no. And he says, well, you better take it before somebody else does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Years later, I'm driving limousine, and I pick up Harmon Killebrew, and I asked him to sign that for me. And I said, I can get fired, but it's worth the signature. He said, you won't get fired.
Yeah, no, the killer's not going to fire you. I'm happy to sign it, I'm sure.
Man, you had that ball. You just carried that ball with you, is what you're telling me.
Yes, I do. I mean, but all right, because I love the ball, my mother, to make sure that the other brothers and sisters didn't get it, I was 11 brothers and sisters, Doug, Minneapolis, 1966, with Sharpie on the baseball.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty special. Awesome.
That's my story.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's got everything. That's a roller coaster, Doug. Thank you for that, brother. See you.
Yep. Bye.
Very lucky to have Harmon Killebrew, the killer, come into the KQ studios years ago and brought each one of us an autographed baseball. And you're like, oh my God, it's Harmon Killebrew. You look at the Major League Baseball logo, I still contend that's the killer. I mean, look at his swing. Several photos out there in the Major League Baseball logo. Harmon Killebrew, that's it. And so he's in the radio station, and we're all out there like a bunch of little cackling kids. And Harmon. And he hands us each the baseball. And, I'm a goofball. I'm not a collector, so I set it on my dresser. I did come home. It now has a grass stain scuff on it because my nephews were outside playing with it. I'm like, hey, a little baseball, and they toss it over to me, and I'm like, hey, this is my Harmon Killebrew ball. Yeah. But with the green grass scuff on it, I think it's even better like that. But yeah, he's royalty in Minnesota, no doubt about that.
Without question. All right, we got time for one more caller before another quick break. Candace, who we got?
Dave from Hudson, Wisconsin.
Dave, good morning, brother. What do you got for us?
Hey, how you guys doing today?
We're great, thank you.
Good. So, my story is I took my daughter to her first Twins game, and I didn't have any tickets ahead of time. we kind of do things off the cuff, and they happened to be playing the Yankees, so the game was sold out. So I go there, and we're buying some ticket, or we're trying to buy some tickets, go to the box office, and they're all sold out, and nobody told me that you could wait, and, if somebody cancels tickets, you could buy. So we went out and bought some tickets from a scalper. That was like $150 for 2 tickets, and we go to the gate, and the people that bought the tickets were already inside, and somebody had to reach through and send the tickets back out to the scalper. So, long story short, we go back to the ticket office and found out that we could actually wait for tickets. And, it cost me about $700 to go to my daughter's first Twins game with all the hat and jersey and this and that. So long story short, if I went home and talked to a buddy of mine, and from now on, if I ever buy tickets from a scalper, I'm going to have somebody my age or something with me, so they can go check the front gate to make sure the tickets are good, and I'll just stand next to the scalper, and if
live and learn.
Get the hell beat out of them.
Well,
you live and you learn.
I believe that was a Brady Bunch episode. Caveat emptor, buyer beware. Hey, we got a hop, Dave. Thank you for the call, brother. That's great. Yeah, man, that's you can get in over your head real fast, especially when you got the kid trying to make it a great day. Hey, listen, if you're sitting on hold right now, hang tight. We're going to get to your calls. 651-989-ROCK. I think we're going to have a lot of fun today as baseball is back, and we're all reliving our favorite or our not-so-favorite memories. But what is the most visceral memory you have of baseball? That's what we're looking for. Mike Evans, Hollywood Report, coming up. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is opening day, April the 4th. We're looking for your greatest, most visceral, immediate, boom, baseball memory. We got somebody who's been waiting a few minutes. Thank you for your patience. Candace, who we got?
Chad from Mound.
Chad, good morning.
Hey, good morning, y'all. How you doing?
We're great. What do you got for us, brother?
So I'm a Minnesota transplant. I'm originally from Tulsa, Oklahoma. When I was about 4, maybe 5 years old, I went to a Tulsa Drillers baseball team. They're a AA team, right?
Yeah.
And after the game, my dad hoists me up on his shoulders, and I'm standing, there by the players' tunnel, and I'm holding a program over in a marker, and nobody's stopping. One man stops, the catcher, a guy named Bill Hasselman. Nobody's ever heard of him since, probably, except me, right? I always held on to that. Fast forward about 12 years later, my pops took me to my first Major League Baseball game. I'm going to start crying. This is so awesome. One of 5 games that season that Pudge did not start for the Rangers. Mm-hmm. Bill Hasselman is the catcher.
Yes!
My dad and I are sitting, almost the top row of the ballpark in Arlington.
Yeah.
Pudge gets on. I'm sorry. Hasselman comes on. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's him. Nobody's heard of this guy, right? He knocked a freaking grand slam.
Yeah, he did.
I'm there. I'm like, oh my gosh. My dad and I break into the Wayne's World. We're not worthy. From the top row of the stadium. I swear he heard me. I swear he looked at me. He pointed the bat at me in my head anyway. I saw all this go
Hell
down.
Yeah.
But that grand slam will forever be the most amazing memory of my life because Bill Hasselman signed this 4-year-old kids program.
That swing was Chad fueled. Never ever question it.
I bet he heard his one fan going nuts when he came out to bat all the way at the top of the stadium.
Chad, he did. Chad, that's amazing. This whole show's going to be one story after another where, the thing where you do the fists on the baseball bat and you got to get to the very top. Everyone's story's topping the one before it. That is outstanding.
Yes,
Chad, thank you so much for sharing that. It gave me goosebumps. Right on.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Bye-bye.
All right, we are taking phone calls. We're taking posts on the Facebook page, but we do have to take a quick moment away because it's time for the Mike Evans Hollywood Report.
Hey, good morning, Steve and Candace. What up, Zep? What up, Tony? We got a little TV news for you, but first, this report brought to you by Marcus Theaters. Tomorrow is Movie Review Friday, and all the great movies are always at Marcus Theaters. Go this weekend, take the family, or you know what I say, take off Tuesday and go to Marcus Theaters and see any movie for only $6. But to TV news, ratings for Saturday Night Live have hit an all-time low. And Lorne Michaels and NBC executives will meet in June to decide Saturday Night Live's future. And I would not be surprised if a final date for a final show is announced shortly after that meeting. I mean, I think we all agree that Saturday Night Live used to be a great show, and there was nothing else on television that time of night. But most of the shows now deal with politics. And with the election being over in November, and you combine that with streaming now taking over, I mean, you can watch anything you want 24/7. My prediction, Saturday Night Live. It's just a matter of time. Bye-bye, so long, farewell. But what a hell of a run. Final TV comment. You know, we've been talking for a couple of weeks. I keep bringing up this Roadhouse. The original movie was The Roadhouse starring Patrick Swayze and Sam Elliott. And then they made a big deal about the remake, Roadhouse, starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor, on Amazon streaming. And Amazon said it was the most viewed stream movie ever on their format. Well, I have now seen the remake, and I hated it even more than the first one, so you're on your own. Movie news, and speaking of the Gyllenhaals, Jake's sister, Maggie Gyllenhaal, has written, will direct, and produce the movie The Bride, described as a romantic drama, horror movie. Set in 1930 Chicago, Frankenstein, yes, Frankenstein, asked his doctor to create a companion for him by giving life to a murdered woman and making her his bride. Romance, police investigation, and it all sparks radical social change in Chicago 1930. Hey, I don't make this stuff up. The movie also stars Christian Bale, Penelope Cruz, Julianne Hough, and Peter Sarsgaard. It'll be released Halloween 2025, The Bride. Bizarre. And Sports Shorts, latest odds for all Final Four games this weekend. You know what, Steve, I'd like to make a bet with you on all four of these games. Let's see how we do. The odds makers say for the women, South Carolina, 11.5 points over North Carolina State. Iowa, 2.5 points over UConn. That's going to be the game. For the men, Purdue, 9 points over North Carolina State. And UConn, 12 points over Alabama. I can't wait. Hey, have a great day, guys. Talk to you tomorrow. See ya.
Mike Evans, Hollywood Report, right there on the KQ Morning Show. Okay, then. It's opening day. Twins, Guardians at 3:10 p.m. Baseball front and center on our minds today. Yeah. Baseball front and center in our central nervous system every day. Memories that pop up when you hear the word baseball, when you think opening day, what's the first one that comes to mind? We've already had some real Cracker Jacks, as they say. Candace, who's on the horn right now?
Yeah, Al from Fridley.
Al, good morning.
Morning. So this was 1991. Went to a Twins game with my 10-year-old son. The Twins were playing the Brewers. It was back when the Brewers were still in the American League. Mm-hmm. We had seats just up from first base, about 10 rows. My son's a lefty, so he has his glove on his right hand, and he's sitting closer to home than me. And I keep telling him, you got to keep paying attention because you never know when we're going to get a foul ball up here.
Yeah.
And they didn't have nets covering the area at the time. And Jack Morris is pitching. Paul Molitor's up to bat. And he's looking around, and I nudge him. I say, you got to keep paying attention here. And the next pitch, Molitor hits a line shot that's coming at me, and it's going to hit me right smack in the ribs. And the people in front of me are leaning forward. I can see the people behind me going backwards. I didn't know what to do, so I just tensed up, and I don't get hit. And it's like, what the heck happened to the ball? And I look at him, and he's staring straight ahead. He's white as a sheet. I look at his glove. Yeah. And the ball was in his glove.
Nice.
He cut his line shot off of Molitor's bat, pitched by Jack Morris in 91. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's damn cool.
That is awesome. That's a really good one. Now, thanks for the call, brother.
Yeah. You guys ever catch a foul ball? I caught one famously, Kirby Puckett, 88, I believe, in the back corner, way down the third base line in the corner, just inside the foul, or outside, I guess, rather, the foul pole, which is great in the Metrodome because when it really got rocking in the World Series, it would sway, and you just thought, that's swaying in our direction if they hit one down there. But that was a foul pitch, and I caught it in my flannel shirt, by the way. And I thought, oh, sweet, I got a Kirby. And I looked down, and there's a little girl about 8 years old, I think, missing one of her front teeth.
Of course.
She's got her hat on and her glove, and I just set it in her glove, and that's where that ball went.
By the way, she walked into that stadium with a full set of teeth. You caught that ball, her dad goes, "Here, look at me, Frank," and ripped that tooth right out.
Yeah.
Cry.
Yeah.
That damn ball.
The tears going.
I've been going to Major League games since the first Orioles game I went to was 70 or 71. I can remember. I should know. Man, it's crazy. It's got to be 71. It wasn't 70. The year they won the series, they beat the Reds. I didn't go. So it was 71. They ended up losing that series to the Pirates. That was my first time. Left field bleachers always. That's where we sat. And so what is that? 53 years? Never caught a foul ball. Never even been close enough. I've stretched my arm out just to do it. But honestly, one aisle behind me and over about 6 people is the closest I've ever come. And I've been to billions of games, man. It's like, and I know people who are like, what's my first game ever? I caught up, you always hear these stories of
right.
It's like a hole in one. It happens or it doesn't.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with your skills as a baseball fan, if there was such a thing. But I'm still trying. We're gonna have to have a history lesson a little later. We're just having too much fun as it is right now. I think screw it. We'll get to it when we get to it.
Oh, and we should give everyone a heads up. We have opener tickets today. I know it's last minute. Our fearless game show leader, Tony, not in this week, but we slapped a yes or BS baseball edition together for you at 8 o'clock for opening day tickets. What boss is not going to let you out of work early to get down to the Twins opener today? If that's an issue, hell, you can probably get the kid out of school early to get down for the game. So that's at 8 o'clock. That's going to be happening.
We got callers. Stay there. Don't hang up. We're dying to hear your stories, please.
Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
Into deep left center for Mitchell, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
Just posted on the KQ Facebook page, a favorite baseball memory. Just posted the audio. JD, thank you. I just hear Jack Buck say, and we just heard it. We'll see you tomorrow night, Game 7. Kirby Puckett slugged, I think, probably the most memorable homer in Minnesota Twins history.
Yeah, that's a safe bet. That's a safe bet. It's the most memorable homer in Atlanta Braves history, too, sadly.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Oh, that series, there's the 87 series, of course, the Cardinals, but in particular, that Atlanta series, Game 2, Ken Herbeck, which I saw one of the great signs of all time from an Atlanta Braves fan when they were down there playing, and it was they had Herbeck's name up and just said, Herbeck, buy a vowel. But yeah, saved Ron Gant from certain career-ending injury by holding him from falling off first base. What a man. That's Fred's post this morning on the KQ Facebook page.
Let me tell you, man, him holding Gant up like that is in Atlanta, Georgia, that is like fight. If you reference that, if you walk into a bar with that on a shirt, someone's throwing hands. It still cuts to the quick. Brian on Facebook wrote the 1994 World Series. Wait, that's right. It was canceled because they didn't make enough money. Hey, World War II didn't stop the World Series. I haven't watched a complete baseball game since. Hey, Brian, real quick. When the millionaires and the billionaires are fighting, trust me, it's the billionaires' fault. Just remember, that's
every
the
time.
owners. Every time. And of course, for the record, 90% of the league guys were not anywhere close to millionaires in 1994. I will get on that soapbox all day long. When people are making decisions about your life and your career and your union, and they don't care, it doesn't matter where you work. Ownership is when they have extra zeros, they're the bad guys every time, especially when it comes to professional sports. And that was before. Salaries now, granted, are insane, but that 94 World Series, there was plenty of blame to go around. And at the time, I was like, nah, man, this one ain't on the players. They're getting jerked around. Anyway, but that's for a different day. Because
you know what didn't happen in 95 or subsequently since that strike? Baseball didn't go out of business. Apparently, the owners are still making some money on the sport. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, by the way, the sport has lost its television audience like by 90% over 40 years ago, and they have more money than ever.
How? Yeah. I don't know.
It's crazy. Well, it's like Candace is a perfect example of a baseball fan. You're in a town where baseball matters. She's been at every opening day in Target Field history, never missed one. Can't wait, chirping, all excited. excited. But there are people who, like, I just lived in Nashville for 20 years before I moved here. They have a AAA team and it's fun, but it's not the same. And baseball's not a conversation around every day. It became such a sport where if you have a team in your city, man, everybody's getting up, looking at the score, talking about it. It's there, and it's invisible otherwise. I mean, the NFL, you don't have to live in Minnesota to be a Vikings fan or a football fan. Everybody's watching the NFL every single year. Baseball used to be that sport, but it just no longer is. But that doesn't mean those stadiums aren't packed, and that doesn't mean that, the international rights deals aren't huge, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. To your point, Zepp, the owners, they're doing just fine, as are a lot of our listeners. We're talking about baseball memories. Like, don't overthink it. Boom, you hear opening day. What's the first great thing that comes to mind? Great or heartbreaking, whatever you got, we want to hear them. Candace, who's on the horn right now?
Jim from Woodbury.
Jim, good morning.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
What do you got, brother?
Hey, baseball memories galore all the way back to the youth, obviously. Little League, fondest memories growing up as a kid. Coach would always take us to Met Stadium after the season, especially when we won the championship like we did a couple times.
Nice.
Just awesome memories as a kid. And then as an adult, my wife and I worked for the Twins part-time on the side. In fan relations, so got close to the game, kind of fulfilled my love for the game even further. And then when our son was born, we vowed that we will do a stadium trip every year. And we've been to 28 of the 30 Major League ballparks so far. And we'll be knocking out the last 2 this summer.
What are the last 2?
We're hitting Tampa and Miami in July.
All right. In July.
Those are the 2 I would hold off to the end myself. So
exactly.
Good choice right there.
Surprisingly, no team has moved or built a new stadium since we've been to it. That will change, obviously, if and when Oakland moves to Vegas. So we'll have to circle back and hit that one again.
Yeah, that's also not gonna be too shabby a trip. God, we have to go to Vegas. Bummer.
If there was something else to do in that town, though,
Well, especially since our son is turning 21 this year, so that'll look nice.
Right on.
Keep an eye on him.
Right on, Jim. Thanks for the call, brother. We appreciate it.
Put him on a leash. Yeah. Either that or, don't pay attention to what's happening. The old Met Stadium, that they did a smart thing back in the day. I grew up out East River, South Dakota, and they would truck us in. The Twins had this program where you would get they would send them out to small towns all around Minnesota, and East River, South Dakota got sucked into that, and they'd send a bus out, and you'd get on the Twins bus. They'd truck you in for a game and truck you right back home. You'd get home at 2 o'clock in the morning or something. I did that a couple of times, and even snuck off the bus for a little bit of a replacement show when I was 17. Nice. So how about Linda on the KQ Facebook page? Went to a game at Met Stadium when I was in 6th grade. They had the pitch, hit, and throw contest before the game. Fast forward now to my junior year in high school. I started dating the new kid in town, my future husband. I came to find out that he was in that pitch, hit, and throw contest I was at in 6th grade.
No way.
Not a bad memory. And included a picture, too. Oh, look at those buck teeth.
And then nice.
Yeah, that's something else. That's good stuff.
That's great stuff. Baseball, more than any other sport, has got all the unwritten rules. But there are plenty of written rules, too. There's plenty of things that baseball players do because they're, those are actually in the book. One of those... players are not supposed to react when hit by a pitch. Did you know this? Like, if a player is hit by a pitch, he's supposed to remain even-keeled, and most importantly, not rub the spot where the pitch hit.
What?
There's a code of masculinity that exists in the game. Catcher John Baker once said, like, one of the unwritten rules, no, man, if you get hit by a pitch, don't touch the place where it hit you. And I've always loved that. One of my great baseball memories of my life, an amazing night in Atlanta in the mid-'90s, there was a rain delay. And it was, it's September. Braves are in their standard postseason rush. They're doing great. We're in September, and it's just pouring rain all day, all night. And they have not called off the game because there's not going to be time to make it up. It's the end of the season. They've got to get this game in. And so I'm at home. It's 10:30 at night, and my buddy calls and says, "Hey, man, first pitch 11:15." I go, "What?" He goes, "They're playing the game tonight at 11:15 p.m. The game's free. They're not even taking tickets." and of course, we're like, "Let's go."
Yeah, no brainer.
We go downtown. Go to the Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. There's one gate open. They play the game. First pitch is 11:15 p.m. And it had been raining all day, so everyone that shows up has a hand towel to wipe their seats off. There's no ushers. There's like one concession stand open, and there's about 1,200 people at the game, and they're all sitting right behind home plate. Everybody just walks in. They don't check tickets. They don't care, and we all take in this game. And it's just the coolest thing because, like, basically, what other freaks are going to go to this game at 11:15 p.m.?
Yeah, freaks.
And, everyone who's there is either like a baseball lifer or just awake late at night, or just, it's a different crowd, obviously.
Yeah,
and a tiny crowd. And they have one concession stand open, and we're all getting beers, and we're having me and my buddy Teddy, and then a bunch of people are sitting around. And then we go over towards the third base side of things, and then two amazing things happen in that game, and one of them was the Braves' third base coach at the time was Jimmy Williams. He later went on to manage the Red Sox for a few years. Older guy at this point, third base coach, right? The third base coach is standing there. The Braves are at the bat, and he's just clapping along. Come on, let's get a swing on it. Let's get a swing on it. They just stand there and chirp and chirp and chirp. And I don't remember who the batter was for the Braves, but somebody, a right-handed batter, got in front of a pitch and hit a line drive down the third base line at 192 miles per hour off that bat. And that ball hit Jimmy Williams dead center of his thigh. I mean, he barely had time to even here it comes, and boop, and it hit his and
Charlie horse.
Everybody in the stadium heard it. It hit him so hard
to the bone.
Everyone heard that thigh just go whap. And I mean, it was like a movie sound effect for a punch in a bar fight. It was so loud. And everybody, the 1,200 people or so, everybody went, oh! And he literally, he kind of jumped to get out of the way, too late, hits him. He lands on, he's standing there on his feet, and he literally just starts clapping. That he just does that. And he's like, all right, here we go.
Focus.
Puts his hands forward like, I'm okay. And then he claps, let's go. And everyone is like, oh, my God. And then before too long, everybody in that stage going, it's okay, Jimmy, rub it, Jimmy. We're yelling at him like, it's okay, touch your leg. And he never did. And he looked at us and laughed like not going to happen. And he just kept clapping his hands through the rest of the inning. And we all knew, the second he walked into that dugout, he was like, oh, my God, rubbing his leg. But it was so great. He was like an old man at the time. And we were like, man, that's old school greatness right there.
Yeah, that's something else. I'll tell you what, there are some baseball rules, or I think special rules. I don't know, because of the game's so different than any other game that we play, and that's going to be part of the game show. By the way, we dug up some old weird rules. Actually, some of them are fairly new. I had no idea were on the books that sort of play into what you just talked about. Mm-hmm. So that's the game show. 4 Twins opener tickets, and we're going to do that at 8:00. I remember a great baseball memory of mine, now that we're talking about it, is the St. Paul Saints. And I forget what year it was when they started out there at Midway Stadium, but Mike Vick and Bill Murray, listen to me stumble on that name, owned the team at the time. And Bill Murray shows up for the first game. I'm working at a small little station up in Cambridge, which is now in the building somewhere, but I'm working at a small little station, and they send us season tickets. Well, this station is so small and rinky-dink, we don't even have a phone line. We can't give the tickets away, but they sent us 4 season passes to this new team called the St. Paul Saints down there at Midway Stadium. And I just happen to live in Minneapolis. I called my buddies. I'm like, you guys want to go to some minor league ball games? Bill Murray's there for the first game and would show up for many games those first several seasons. He'd be coaching first base and, just running around being Bill Murray. And came up and still have it, somehow hung on to it. That opening day, first game for the St. Paul Saints, Bill Murray signed the ticket, as he did for half the stadium. Just came through with a Sharpie and just started signing them. But what a great memory. And then the St. Paul Saints, because minor league ball is different than major league ball in all the right ways. We talk about, the pig, the batting pig, or the ball pig, rather, that brings the balls out, and all the goofy contests that they would have. Just like town ball in Minnesota is different than the minor leagues, but it's got a great culture here. Just all part of the baseball experience. 651-989-ROCK. That's the talk and text line. Let's hear a baseball memory from you here this morning.
Man, it's really and the cool thing too is I'm just thinking about every ballpark, because it's a staggered thing. Not everybody has opening day the same day as a home game anyway, and just this vibe happening like a couple places today, a couple places had it a couple days ago. It's an exciting thing that every city gets to enjoy. And throughout the day today, if you're going down to the ballpark today, you could actually head over you could be on your way to Target Field right now. By gosh, the walk down 7th Street between 6 and 9. You can get a hot cup of coffee. They got breakfast going on out there at the plaza right now.
Already? Jeez.
Absolutely. Right now,
I love
it's already
it.
started.
I love
Ken Herbeck, Justin Morneau, Tom Kelly, Dan Gladden among those who will be greeting fans at the gates at 1 o'clock.
Wow.
The first 10,000 fans get a Twins beanie.
Yes.
Come on, Candace. Get that beanie.
I gotta stay on track. Gotta get there on time.
Yeah, don't get caught on that rooftop too long.
That's exactly right. Twins are also celebrating, Dick Bremer, 40 years on the mic. He stepped aside. They're gonna notice. They will acknowledge him today with a celebration. Also honoring the first responders from Burnsville and Dakota County. Which is going to be an emotional, bittersweet, but certainly well-deserved acknowledgement today.
Outstanding.
Man, I tell you what, it's a great time of year. It's a great day in Minneapolis today for baseball fans from the whole state. I didn't realize before I got here. I know that Minnesotans love the Twins, but I just didn't realize the depth of the baseball culture at all ages and levels. I've had so many conversations with people in the last 15, 16 months about the number of guys my age I've met, and they're like, oh, well, yeah, I coached for 4 years. I coached, Junior League, the Babe Ruth, and there's all these different league titles and names it's a little something different in the South. So I'd say, like, what age is that? Different names for different types of level of competition. But the number of baseball conversations I've had since I got here is my point. Is amazing to me. You think winter state, but by God, once the snow stops falling, the gloves and balls come out, man. This place is baseball crazed, and it really, really excites me. I'm an Orioles fan, lifelong. That's always my number one team.
Yeah.
But make no mistake, the vibe of the Twins and the vibe in this area during baseball season, as long as the O's aren't in town, man, I'm all on the Twins train.
Even
don't think twice about it.
And when the O's are in town, we invite you to be on that train with them. And because in Minnesota, I've been to ballparks from New York and Boston out to the Dodgers, but Minnesota's pretty welcoming. I mean, not maybe as much in Yankee Stadium, certainly not in Fenway. If you go walking in there with, say, a Yankees jersey, but you go in with an Orioles hat, and people are going to share some of their great Orioles moments with you.
Sure.
Pretty open about it. KQ Facebook post, share a baseball memory. What comes to mind? Baseball. First thing, Mark, you bragger, you beautiful son of a gun. World Series Game 7, 1987 and 1991. Both Game 7s.
Strong.
Yeah, that's very strong. 651.
Very strong.
989 Rock. That's the talk and text line. We're talking baseball, the home opener today. The big game show coming up here at 8 o'clock for home opener tickets. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. That was Kiss. I Was Made for Loving You. Hey, I got a question for you, and it's about the group ABBA. Or is it ABBA? How do you say it?
I'm listening.
I say ABBA.
ABBA.
Yeah, I don't, it depends if I've had a couple of mimosas. No, when I think of ABBA. I guess I say ABBA. Just spit it out, ABBA.
I think I say ABBA too, or ABBA. Either way, we all know.
There is no wrong way to say it.
They're the wealthiest Swedes on earth until that guy invented IKEA, and specifically Bjorn Ulvaeus, the man behind ABBA, wrote all the songs, produced all the records. You may be asking yourself someday, just because you got nothing else on your mind, gee, I wonder how much money that guy has. I'll tell you how much money he has. He has enough money to buy Kiss because he just did.
What? He bought Kiss?
Yeah. Bjorn Ulvaeus, his company, Pop House Entertainment Group, just bought Kiss's entire catalog, brand name, and all IP for $300 million cash. Kiss.
Probably a good investment.
Yeah. Kiss just sold Kiss for $300 million to the dude from ABBA. Woo! There's a lot of money in that one. Mamma mia.
They tipped their hand a little bit. They showed us their hand, I think, earlier this year. Of course, they've wrapped up their career, finally started that farewell tour in 2000, wrapped it up in 2023.
Yep.
Yeah, but they, ABBA has that big, I don't know, what's it, virtual reality show. I'm not doing a very good job. The holograms, that's it. Right. Yeah, and Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley both in separate interviews were talking about, well, maybe Kiss will live on. That is the hologram thing that ABBA's doing that's worldwide and filling up theaters all over the place. And so I think it was in negotiation. So I would expect a Kiss hologram. And what better band for a hologram show than Kiss? I was just thinking of that. We're listening to I Was Made for Loving You, written by the great songwriter Desmond Child, kind of changing their sound like a lot of bands were doing in the late 70s. Even the Stones were throwing down that disco beat. Hell, even Led Zeppelin, had a little disco thing going on, a little dance beat going on there. We were dance crazy in the late 70s. But that album, if you remember Dynasty, their makeup was perfect. What a good look at those four faces. Bring on the hologram. I'm going.
Hell yeah. In an interview, Gene Simmons said he was asked about this company acquiring Kiss. He said, I don't like the word acquisition.
Yes, you do.
Collaboration is what it's about.
He likes the words 350 million.
300. Let's not get ahead
of 300. Sorry,
just
right.
a paltry $300 million. $300 million. That's $149 million to Gene, $149 million to Paul, and $2 million to the staff, and then a couple of sandwiches to the other guys in the band.
I tell you what, if they're going hologram, it's the original gang, so Peter and Ace are going to figure in there somewhere. They'll get a little, they'll get some crumbs.
One would hope. One would certainly hope.
Yeah.
That's a big day for the Kiss Army, and especially the generals of the Kiss Army. Make no mistake about it. It's opening day, which is a huge day for all of us. Whether or not you're going to, like Candace, attend today's opening day festivities, it certainly triggers a whole plethora of subconscious feelings and thoughts and memories and stories. Just having baseball back every year, my second opening day in the Twin Cities, and man, this one's even more exciting than a year ago. We've been reading posts on the KQ Facebook page. Baseball memory, don't think, blink, boom, what do you think? What comes to mind first? And we've had some great stories on the phones. We got a couple people right now on hold. Candace, who is waiting to share a story with us?
All right, we have Jim from Bloomington.
Jim, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. How are you?
We're great, brother. What do you got for us?
Well, I used to live out at the Met. Back in the early 70s, I lived in Burnsville, and we were just a hop, skip, and a jump from the Met, and we would hitchhike. I started doing it at about 11 years old. My neighbor was 13, so my mom said, yeah, sure, go ahead. Because back then, it wasn't that big of an issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we used to sneak in all summer long. I was going to the home games, and we'd get caught, and, the security guys go, they'd shoo us off, and 20 minutes later, we'd be at another hole. But every home opener, I'm always reminded of a game I went to at the Met, and it was the Twins against the Oakland A's, and this is what Dean Martin.
I wish it was Dean Martin.
Oh, hell, wouldn't that have been fun, right? There with his martini glass in the dugout. But anyway, Billy Martin, the infamous Billy Martin.
Hey, don't think Billy Martin didn't have a martini in the dugout.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Dino's sitting there singing Pizza Pie song, whatever that is.
Oh, Moray, or
yeah. Anyways, so instead of evacuating, they let everybody jump on, they had people jumping on the field. We were allowed to go on the field. So we're on the field with the Twins and the Oakland A's, and they're just playing, catch with each other and stuff. So I picked up a baseball, because there was all sorts of them. I picked one up, and I went around, and I had Billy Martin sign it, Tony Oliva, Rod Carew, Catfish Hunter.
Hall of Fame.
Guys.
Yeah.
I had that base, and that thing was like the pride and joy of my baseball thing.
Uh-oh.
And my mom threw it away.
Mom! Well, first of all, why the hell would you ever throw a baseball away? And you must have noticed some signatures on there. I feel like Steve's channeling some bad feelings right now.
I have no idea. But she was my mom,
Yeah, well, yeah.
And at that time, really, at my age, I really did think that, hard about it. But, I mean, if I had that baseball today, you know what that thing would probably be worth?
You ripped off 4 Hall of Famers right there on the baseball. So
plus I had Rod Carew, Tony Oliva.
5. Yes.
Yeah,
those guys, right.
I probably had 12, 13 signatures on them.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, that mom said, look at this. He's just been scribbling all over this baseball. It's got to go. We'll whip it out. Well,
it's dirty. He's just been playing with it outside. Let's throw it away. He doesn't use it.
Well, for what it's worth,
anyways. Baseball this year, guys.
Yeah, thank you for the call, brother. We appreciate it.
He's laughing about it. That's cool.
Yeah, and for what it's worth.
Well, I'm 65. I can't cry about it now.
Well, and believe me, a lot of times you tell somebody a sob story and they go, hey, I know how you feel. And you think, no, you don't. Trust me, I know how you feel.
Yeah.
It wasn't a baseball.
I didn't realize it till I was like 17, 18 years old when I was moving my stuff out, 19 years old when I was moving out of my parents' house. I'm like, where the hell's my baseball? And I'm looking around for it. And I went and I asked my mom, I'm like, well, have you seen my baseball? Oh, I threw that thing away years ago. I'm like, what? I'm like, what? And I just sat down at the table and put my head in my hands and just shook my head back and forth going, no.
All right, well.
And she's like, oh, did I do something wrong?
Well.
And I looked at her and I said, Mom, I love you. I got to get back so I can get out of here.
Awesome. No. Thank you. Hey, man, we appreciate it very much. Appreciate the call.
You guys have a great day.
Yeah, Steve, your turn.
Where do I begin? Okay, you know what? Little League Baseball glove. Let's see. In no particular order. Brooks Robinson signed that glove.
Yeah.
Don Baylor, Paul Blair, Jim Palmer signed that glove.
And his underwear.
Al Bumbry signed that glove.
Wow.
Oh, my God. It was just Dave McNally. Mike Cuellar. I mean, the Orioles were loaded in the early 70s, and they all signed my Little League glove.
Now, if I'm remembering the story correctly, your mom, did she donate it, but did she throw it away?
Oh, no. Goodwill. I mean,
Goodwill. Did you ever think of going on some sort of Field of Dreams quest to track down that mitt again, or it's just, love your mom and move on?
No, it was one of those like, okay, well then this happened, I guess. Go figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, these things happen. But that's okay. It is funny. Moms know they're the one person that can actually do something like that and get away with it. Because literally, what are you going to say? Thanks for having me. No, you're going to go, no, thanks for having me. Great. I'm glad to be alive. Yeah. Thanks, Mom. Whatever. Anything else that matters to me you want to destroy? Go for it. I mean, I can never pay you back. So, yeah.
By the way,
take it all.
Things only moms can get away with. Maybe that's a topic for another show because anyone else does that, even dad. And there's a certain, added grudge, if it's a friend, well, they're not anymore. Tubby, thank you, Tubby, for the KQRS post. This is a unique baseball memory. When you say baseball to Tubby, he remembers the 1987 World Series for this reason. He was delivering booze and wine baskets for Haskell's to the mansions along Lake of the Isles over there. Game 6 is in progress, and he's out hoisting cases of wine onto a dolly. As he approaches the front door to one of the homes with the delivery, the lady quickly opens the door and says, "Quick, come in." She had Game 6 on, and there we are watching with eyes wide open as Ken Herbeck blasts a grand slam and Twins win. So we toasted with a Pinot, and I hit the road smiling. Tubby from Northeast. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, my man Tubby. I'll see you on the bridge soon. Tubby, Chauncey and I bump into Tubby on the regular, man.
He gets around, doesn't he?
Yeah, we're on the same walking circuit in downtown. We bumped into each other several times.
Yeah, that's
Tubby walked up to me one day and he was wearing headphones. And I was like, "Hey, is that?" He just took his headphones off and stuck them on my head, and he was rocking a Black Crowes song. And he goes, "Sounds pretty good." I said, "Yeah, killer groove." And then he just kept on going. That was it. That was our entire exchange. It was pretty nice.
That's all you need some days. Don on here says it was about 77 or 78. My dad got my brother and I out of school early for the Twins home opener. I know more people with getting out of school and going to a Twins game. I can imagine the excitement. That'll be happening today, by the way.
When I was a kid in elementary school in Baltimore, there was a thing you could sign up for, and they had the order form. They had the fill out the application thing at school, and it was to be a junior Oriole, and it was just a little club you joined. You sent in a little check or paid the cash, and if you were a junior Oriole, you got tickets to like 8 games in the left field bleachers and a clinic with members of the team. It costs $1.75.
Wow.
That's a true story.
Yeah.
7 quarters is what I needed to be a junior Oriole. I mean, what would that cost now? To get a clinic with the team on the field where they show you infielding tips and stuff and go to 6 or 8 home baseball games?
Yeah, a bunch more quarters.
It'd be $1,000 right now. It's absolutely unbelievable.
No kidding. Although you make a good point. I mean, I think baseball, another reason is its accessibility. Of course, everything has skyrocketed over the years, but when you look at baseball, you can still, the Twins, you get on there. I did it the last summer. I'd look on there and I'd be like, there's still a $25 ticket on, $28.50 ticket on here, and I just want to be out there. I want the dog in the hand and the beer and the fresh air and just taking it all in, especially on a nice day. And I would say the other thing about going to baseball games and bringing your kids and starting those memories is baseball. Listen to me just selling baseball this morning, but we're just, wading into opening day, and it's getting me excited. I'm looking around for a baseball mitt. I think I told you guys earlier, I need the batting cage, right out back here in the parking lot to just go out and take a couple of cuts. But is that it because a baseball game is social? I mean, football games are loud and rowdy and crazy, and they happen really fast. Same, I think, with hockey. The action's always going. But baseball, you're talking, you're BSing. My brother and I used to go to Twins games. He'd drive up from Des Moines, and that's where we caught up. We just sat out there and chatted the game away, and good stuff.
It really is the best. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talk and text line. If you want to get in touch, feel free to give us a ring. Candace, who we got on the horn?
All right, we have Rick from Egan.
Rick, good morning, brother.
Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing?
We're great. What do you got for us?
Well, we moved from Arizona in 1962, I believe, and we rented a house right across from the new Metropolitan Stadium. It was such a big deal. And I found out that the house we rented, Harmon Killebrew rented it before us.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a big field with the WDQI tower.
Yep.
Right down the street from our house.
Okay.
He would go out and play with the neighborhood kids. Play catch and baseball and all that good stuff. And I heard this all from the kids. He was such a cool guy for doing that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, and that's definitely a memory.
That's a great
I got to see the All-Star game, which is, I think, a couple years later, and the first World Series. I saw a couple of games.
Wow.
They played the LA Dodgers.
Yeah.
And then I went to a private school, so they gave us permission to take the day off to see the game. A real big deal back then that they made the series. I think it was within not too many years since they came up, from Washington Senators.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to, because I saw something about the All-Star game here back in the day recently. It was 65? Yeah, the year I was born, 1965 All-Star game at Met Stadium. And then that's right, the Dodgers right then. I know my Orioles beat the Dodgers in 66, but we don't have to talk about that. But no, that's fantastic. I love the stories of the old ball players living in very, very much middle-class neighborhoods, blue-collar neighborhoods a lot of times, and just, playing ball with the kids. If you ever saw the great baseball film, 8 Men Out, the Black Sox scandal, John Cusack, the John Sayles film, and he's Shoeless Joe, and he's just walking down the street and kids are coming up and talking to him, but it really was that way. You see stories from the 50s and 60s of players from every city, and these guys, still a lot of them had off-season jobs. I mean, they were not wealthy men by any stretch.
No.
And of course, they're just big kids playing a big kids game. Stickball down the street in Bloomington, sure, let's go. I mean, that's an awesome time.
Yeah, I mean, Ken Burns, the fantastic documentary on baseball, the definitive documentary on baseball, would talk about the Brooklyn Dodgers, having, imagine, I mean, there wasn't a team bigger probably to a city or a borough than the Brooklyn Dodgers were to Brooklyn. That's a whole nother conversation in baseball history. But they had off-season jobs, and I forget, Pee Wee, I think, delivered groceries. And they said you'd go watch him play, and then in the off-season, you'd get the knock on the door at the apartment building, open it up, and it's Pee Wee there. Can you imagine Correa or something showing up with your Amazon delivery?
Pee Wee Reese. Did you want extra milk? I got an extra bottle.
Yeah, Reese, that's what it was. Thank you, Pee Wee Reese.
We lived in Brooklyn for a while and moved there. So the Dodgers went west in '57, and in 1999, we had an apartment in Brooklyn, and there was a doorman. Frank, and I said, Frank, man, so you're a kid, you're from here? He's like, oh, yeah, Brooklyn my whole life. And I said, so I guess you remember when the Dodgers moved. And the guy literally, the pain on his face, 42 years later, he literally looked at me and goes, I'll never forget it, Steve. It still hurts. It still hurts so bad. And I was like, God, I mean, for real, not shtick at all. Just pulled his guts out. Candace, who else we got on the horn?
All right. Jeff from New Richmond, Wisconsin.
Jeff, good morning.
Well, good morning. How is everybody?
We're great. Thank you, brother. What do you got for us?
Well, I got a baseball story from when I was a kid back in the early 70s. I grew up in Fargo, home of Roger Maris.
Oh, yes.
And he was visiting the house across the street from me, having dinner with some friends of his. And we all stood around waiting to get an autograph. And I knocked on the door, and the man of the house said, well, Roger will be out later. We're having dinner right now. So I had quite a temper at the time. I got mad and said, well, who the hell needs his autograph anyway?
Okay.
I went home and had dinner. About 10 minutes, 15 minutes later, knock on the door, and there's Roger Maris. He wanted to meet the kid who had that kind of attitude.
Yeah.
He signed my baseball, and unfortunately, about 15 minutes later, because baseballs were expensive, we played with that same baseball and never even realized how much it would have been worth.
Yeah, right. Well, no, but you know what? That was before we thought about things like that. He signed your ball, and I'm sure in his mind, the best thing you could do with that ball is go put it to good use. So you did just that.
Yep.
Well, as a postscript to that story, the best part of it is years later, there was a book written by a local author in Fargo about Roger Maris and his ties to Fargo, and that story is actually in the book.
Oh, that's great.
He thought enough of that he relayed that anecdote later on to his biographer.
Hey, sometimes it pays to have a pissy attitude, man. No question about it.
Yeah, I'm making a living out of it myself.
It does. Well,
That's
go
great.
Twins.
Yeah, go
Twins.
Indeed. Thanks for the call, brother. Think about that, though.
Take care.
Early 70s. Wasn't it great when word just got around Roger Maris is down the street? Like, there's no way you wouldn't have found out. But how? How did it go? It was like wildfire.
Yeah.
When we were kids, we always knew when something cool happened in the neighborhood. No one missed a thing. Now you miss it because it's just one of 90 text messages you got to sort through. But back then, trust me, if Boog Powell had been hanging out in my neighborhood, we would have all smelled it. Like, it's just in the air. You just couldn't have possibly missed anything like that. Candace, do we have anybody else on hold?
Don from Winstead.
Don, good morning.
Morning, crew.
What do you got for us, brother?
In the day, this is early 70s, we had 7 children, 6 boys, 1 girl.
Right.
We all played baseball, but Mom and Dad would take us down to the Twins at the old Met. On third baseline, in the left field area were wooden benches for you to sit on. In any event, my story is Tony Oliva, how great he was, used to let the bat fly out of his hands sometimes, and it'd go into the crowds. So this one particular time, it bounced off the railing in the good seats and hit an elderly lady with the bat.
Ooh.
You know, so she was kind of injured. They took care of her. So just for shits and giggles, when we got home, me and my brothers used to emulate it out in our lot where we lived in a big yard.
Okay.
Let the bat wing, but that was good until Mom and Dad and all the neighbor kids saw us, and then that fun was over. But Tony
Yeah.
Oliva was infamous for having that bat fly out of his hand.
That's right. He sure was. That's awesome, man. And I love going home and simulating it yourself. That was such a big thing. Hey, thanks for the call, man. We certainly appreciate it. Huge thing of my childhood was emulating everybody's stance. You know, the batter stance, the swing, the way they would run to first base. We had everybody down. I mean, we literally way more than actually playing baseball and trying to get good at it.
Oh, right.
We just acted like our favorite baseball players. Far more time spent doing that than actually learning the game itself.
Growing up playing baseball as a catcher, started at Pee Wee all the way through high school, Legion Ball, played catcher. It was the kids, the pitchers, when we would get back, when we'd start summer, emulating their favorite pitchers, the sidearms. Who was that Royals pitcher with that? There was a Q in the name. I can't remember.
Dan
Quisenberry, thank you. He had that goofy sidearm. Or Goose Gossage bringing his knee up above his head. Suddenly we've got guys out there on the mound bringing their knee up above their head. And I'm sitting there thinking, how about we try getting it over the plate? You look fantastic out there. I hope Mom got a picture of you in your pose, but yeah, let's see if we can't get one across the plate into the strike zone. But a big part of it. Okay, we're going to have to repurpose the talk and text line because it's game show time.
Nice.
And we're talking, Twins home opener. We got to go with yes or BS, the baseball edition. We'll need two callers, 9 and 2, 651-989-ROCK. For Twins home opener tickets today at 3 o'clock, you know you can make it. You know you want to make it. Heck, Steve says the plaza's already open. I kind of wish, do they have a camera down there? I kind of want to live feed it just to get in the mood. Yes or BS. Our runner-up today, April Wine at the Medina Entertainment Center tomorrow. Thank you to the Medina Entertainment Center for those tickets. 651-989-ROCK. Dial up. Good luck. And hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Thursday, April 4th, also known as opening day at Target Field. Whoo, baby. Candace Wheeler is on her way to the ballpark the minute we shut down the microphones today. My girl walked into the studio at 5 a.m. rocking a Twins vest, looking good.
Thanks, man.
Rocking the twin swag.
It's the happiest day of the year.
It sure is. It's the most wonderful time of the baseball year. All hope springs eternal, man. It's all ahead of us the entire season. For anybody heading out to Target Field, you could head there right now. They got breakfast on the plaza going. Main gates open at 1 o'clock. First pitch at 3:10. It's going to be a barn burner out there against the Cleveland Guardians. Very, very exciting time. We've been listening we've had calls all morning. We're asking people about their baseball memories. Don't think, blink, boom, baseball, what comes to mind? Bang. Either a personal, your Little League memory or the time you almost got the foul ball. We've had so many great stories, and I imagine we're going to have plenty more before we're out of here. But all that said, it's time to put that aside because as long as we're talking baseball and as long as we're talking Twins opener, let's give away some opening day tickets. What do you say?
This is yes or BS of the baseball edition. We're going to mix a little Twins trivia in here, some baseball rules trivia. It's kind of a smorgasbord, 5 questions each. We'll give you a statement. You decide yes, it's true, or no, total BS. For tickets to the Twins opener today.
I love it. Let's do yes or BS. We have 2 callers ready to play. Twins opening day tickets today on the table. Candace, who's caller number 1?
Josh from St. Paul.
Josh, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
We're great, brother. Are you ready to play for some Twins opening day tickets?
I am, yes. That's
excellent.
Awesome.
Good luck to you, sir.
All right, Josh, yes or BS. Here's the statement. You decide if it's true or no, total BS. The Minnesota Twins franchise began with the Washington Senators in 1901. They became the Minnesota Twins in 1981.
Yes, that's true, I think.
No, they became the Minnesota Twins in 1961, actually. That was BS. I know. I know it's early. I know I get you. All right. Well, try this one. It's not going to get any easier, unfortunately, because we're going to get into baseball rules now. If you catch a ball with your hat in a Major League Baseball game, catch a ball with your hat, the runner automatically goes to third. Yes or BS?
Yes.
Sorry, Josh. That's yes. I know. It's according to Rule 5.06b of the Major League Baseball Rule Book, all runners advance 3 bases if you catch it with your hat.
I know.
Wouldn't it be fun?
I've not
What
spent
about
a
the
lot.
Cubs game?
I've not spent a lot of time with the rule book, but that's one I did read early in life, and I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" That's one of my favorites.
All right, Josh. All right, I think we might have one here for you. I'm going to throw this one in underhanded. Tom Kelly coached the Twins to their first World Series title in 1987. Yes or BS?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, you bet he did.
There you go.
Yeah, in fact, that was his first season, Twins manager in 87, still the coach at the end of the 1990s, and manager, of course, of that 91 season. By the way, with their first season in 61, the Twins went to the Promised Land in 65 against the Dodgers. That series went 7 games, but they had a pitcher, an ace named Sandy Koufax, that they couldn't overcome. Yeah. All right, here we go. So you're on the board. You've got one. We've got a couple more here for you. 3 can win this, no problem. No major league player has ever hit 2 grand slams in a single game. Yes or BS?
BS.
Right on, brother. It happened 13 times, as a matter of fact, including in 99 when Fernando Tatis hit 2 in the same inning against the Dodgers.
Wow.
All right. All right.
Figure.
You're batting 500 here, Josh. Here we go.
2 for 4. That's Hall of Fame numbers, brother.
Hell yeah.
Not bad, not bad.
All right, here we go. One more. If a pitcher hurts his throwing arm, he's allowed to switch in the middle of an at-bat and throw with the other arm.
Why not? Yes.
Sure, he can. Pitchers used to be allowed to do it anytime during an at-bat, but it never happened until about 12 years ago when ambidextrous pitcher Pat Venditti did it in 2008. So they changed the rule. Only if there's an injury. But yeah, 3 for 5. You got to be feeling good about that, man.
Not bad, not bad.
No, that's a solid effort right there. Not an easy game at all. Josh, sit tight. We're going to go to contestant number 2. Candace, contestant number 2 is?
Wanda from Sauk Rapids.
Wanda, good morning.
Good morning.
Are you a baseball fan?
Yes. And an April Wine fan, though, really.
Oh, wow. Well, then my God, you are in the right place.
Don't throw the game like the Sox did back in the whenever.
1919.
Oh, 1919, not even the aughts.
Wow. Yeah. You can enjoy both. You can go drink wine at the ballpark. It is April, so, I mean, I'm just saying. But if not, we do have tickets to see the band as well. So we're going to play yes or BS, Wanda. Good luck.
All right. Here we go, Wanda. First question. Target Field was built on the site of the Twins' first ballpark, Metropolitan Stadium. Yes or BS?
BS.
Yeah, the Mall of America actually built on the old Met Stadium grounds. So there you are. One for one.
1 for 1.
Wanda, if a player gets ejected from a game, they're allowed to go sit in the stands. Yes or BS?
BS.
Yeah, but only if they take off their uniform, change into street clothes, and are well removed from the vicinity of the team's bench or bullpen.
All right. I like it.
And there you go. 2 for 2. Listen to you go. Okay, let's get local again here. In 2010, Joe Mauer received the largest number of votes of any Major League Baseball player for the All-Star game. He had a total of 5,372,606 votes. Yes or BS?
Yes.
Yeah. I forgot to throw 1,000 in there, but you get it. Yeah,
boom.
He did. And he's the only American League catcher to win the batting title, which surprised me when I looked that up. I was like, really? All the great catchers in the American League. Wow. He was the only one to win the batting title. Good for Joe. Now you're 3 for 3. We have ourselves a tie ball game here. You're going for the win. It takes the average person 6.1 bites to eat a hot dog. Yes or BS?
BS.
All right. Nope, it does. They've actually tested it with people who have average-sized mouths, so no one on this show.
Wow. 6 bites. That's a foot long if it's me. Trust me.
No kidding, right?
I couldn't hold off for 6 whole chews of a hot dog, man. That's like 3-4 tops.
All right. Wanda, you get this one right. You're off to the Twins home opener this afternoon. When a coach visits the mound to talk to the pitcher, there is a 30-second time limit. Yes or BS?
BS.
Yeah, it's a rule they added in 2016 to speed up the games. We have ourselves a tiebreaker, boys and girls.
All right.
Yeah.
So I got a question. We do have a tiebreaker. So first of all, very well played, Wanda. Well played, Josh. We're going to ask one question, and I'm going to ask you to each to answer. Josh, you'll go first, then Wanda. The one with the right answer or closest to the right answer will win the tickets. The 2019 Twins, along with the 2023 Braves from Atlanta, have the most home runs ever recorded in a single season by a team. How many home runs did the 2019 Twins hit? You're up first, Josh. How many?
Oh, my God. 100.
He says 100. Wanda, what do you think? How many home runs did the Twins hit in 2019?
101.
101. Wanda just priced is righted herself. The answer is 307.
Yeah. Wow.
Yowza. Man.
She wants to go to April Wine. You can make the swap here on the air. Let's make a deal.
It's your choice. It's your choice, Wanda. Do you want the Twins opening day tickets today, or do you want April Wine?
I want April Wine.
I think we have two very happy callers right now, Josh.
Everyone's a winner.
Josh, my man, you got 2 to the opening game, and Wanda, you're going to see April Wine. Well played, both of you. Thanks so much.
Oh, my God.
Oh, that's sweet. I love it.
No, I get to say I won. So,
You absolutely won.
Make no mistake, Wanda gets the bragging rights here. Absolutely.
Yeah,
You won. Big time. That's awesome.
Gosh, that is fantastic. All right. Thank you guys both. That's great.
I love it. Here's one that I did not use in the game show, but I was plunking around, as we were slapping it together, and I just thought was a fun fact. The shortest home run ever, 6 feet.
What?
Yeah. Well, no way to know if it really happened like this, but in 1902, there's your '02, a player named Andy Euler supposedly hit a ball straight into the ground, and it got stuck in the mud, and he got an inside-the-park home run before anyone could find the ball.
That's great.
Can you imagine them all out there digging around, guys running in from the outfield? Where is it? I don't know. And he's just trucking around. That's fantastic. That sounded like that should have probably been a rain out, but that's fantastic. I love that little fun fact.
Yeah, it's great. The more you look at baseball, as we said, there's so many great unwritten rules. I mean, there's more written rules than any other sport. Like by far, the baseball rule book is endless. One of those rules, which I was unaware of, if a pitch gets stuck on the catcher, meaning if the ball hits the catcher's gear, either his face mask or maybe
it
even
does
his
get
chest
caught in the
protector,
mask.
it can be stuck. It can be caught. If that happens, any runner on base gets to advance one base. Right away.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What do you caught the ball, man? What if it gets? I don't think at the major league level, but I remember one of those goofy videos from several years ago that was making the rounds on social media. Yep. Probably a town baller got stuck in the face mask. Boom, caught it right there. But yeah, I guess I didn't watch the video long enough, so they advanced the runners.
That's exactly what happens. Another one, of course, position players. Nobody but pitchers and occasionally catchers should ever step on the pitcher's mound. You'll see the catcher run out to talk to his guy. You'll see the infielders circle their own pitcher in a moment of, hey, let's talk about this. But nobody should ever cross the pitcher's mound. A-Rod in 2010 with the Yankees walked across the mound while returning to home plate after a foul ball. And literally you would have thought the world was going to stop spinning on its axis. It was like the greatest sign of disrespect. Don Sutton, Hall of Fame pitcher, was on ESPN, and he was like, it's just common sense and common courtesy. A-Rod has no respect. I mean, everyone lost their mind.
It didn't help that it was A-Rod, or maybe it did help that it was A-Rod. Pile on,
Of course.
It's if someone else would have done it, but A-Rod, any little screw up that he made, it was just fun to trounce him.
It is always funny when anytime you have any sort of culture that has, it's all about respecting the rules. You look at a dugout back in the day, and it's just sunflower seeds and tobacco spit all over every square inch of the floors and the walls, and they're like, you got to respect the game. It's just like, what are you guys talking about?
Right. It's, oh my God, the Big League Chew. You remember the bubble gum? They still have that, the Big League Chew? We all had a wad of that in our mouths. In fact, I remember Lloyd Brotherton. It wasn't a Heimlich. Back then, all we did was smack you right between the shoulder blades. But what coach was it? Anyway, he got her caught there in the gullet. His big baseball-sized wad of gum.
As a kid, I had never seen chew. I knew baseball players chewed tobacco, but I didn't know anybody that chewed tobacco. This is when I lived in Maryland, so we smoked. We'd sneak cigarettes from my friend's mom. But I moved to Kentucky, and that is tobacco country. And I was in 6th grade on a school trip, and my buddy John had a pouch of Red Man chewing tobacco. We were in 6th grade, and I was like, "What's that? Is that chew?" He goes, "Yeah, man." And I said, "What do you do?" And he said, "You just take a little bit of it here, and you stick it there in between your cheek and your gum." He showed me, and he goes, "You sit it in there for a couple minutes, and then you chew it up and swallow it."
No. He's setting you up. Either that or he had no idea.
And I said, "Oh, okay." And I took a big plug and I shoved it in there. I was high as a kite in like 3 seconds. I mean, right away I started like, oh, wow, I'm a little dizzy and like kind of nauseous and weird and not at all expecting such a rush. And he was like, "Oh, yeah, you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, wow. I really feel that." And he goes, "Go ahead and chew it up." And I was like, "Okay." And I chewed and then I started to swallow it. And my body, thankfully, had my back, by which I mean I vomited so hard. My entire central nervous system was like, no, we're not accepting this at all. And a little bit went down, but then a whole lot came back out the other way. And
that's it.
Man, he thought that was the funniest thing he'd ever seen.
I bet you never even thought about putting any chew in your mouth again after that. He probably did you a favor. I grew up in South Dakota, redneck country. Of course, you was Skoal, Copenhagen country. You were one of the two. I think East River was Copenhagen, West River was Skoal. But my first chew was actually in basic training. I got there and they gave us a smoke break. It's the mid-'80s. We're taking smoke breaks, and I wasn't smoking. And a guy next to me was like, "Hey, man, you want to chew?" I was like, "Yeah, I got to do something. I got to be cool. You're either smoking or chewing." And kind of the same thing. I'm green, hands on knees, barfing it up there. And the next time we had a smoke break, I turned to the guy to my right, and he had a cigarette and got in those for a little while. Thank you, Army.
Another thing that happened, my first official girlfriend her family, they raised horses. They had a horse farm, cutting horses specifically.
Oh yeah, great.
And I'm in high school, and that was a fascinating new world that I knew nothing about. But the first time I met like the extended family, her granny, which is this is a Southern grandmother, Granny. I looked over and saw this elderly woman, and she pulled a little tin out of her purse, and I was like, "I wonder what that is." And she opened it up, and she just put a little powder on the underside of her nail, like a pinky fingernail. The next time I saw someone do that, it was not this. It was cocaine. But at this time, and it was snuff, and she just took a big snort of snuff. And I was like, what on earth am I watching? I'd never heard of snuff. I had no idea what it was.
Huzzah!
And she just like, "Hey, I'm back." And I was like, wow. All right, then. A lot to learn. It's the thing. Even at 10 years old, you move to a new place. It's like, well, there's a lot of things going on I was unaware of here.
No kidding. Candace, you're off to the home opener today. We're going to move along. We have a special guest coming up here at 8:30. If you could live in the Target Field Twin Stadium, would you?
No.
You wouldn't live there?
No.
I know a lot of people that would love to live at a stadium. It sounds kind of nutty, but one guy did it secretly. A secret apartment in a big league stadium. Tom Garvey, our guest at 8:30. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Monday, April the 4th. It's not Monday, April the 4th. It's Thursday, April the 4th. What am I talking about?
Heck?
It's
Give me a
opening
heart attack.
day. It's opening day, and it sounds like it should be a Monday. No, but it's not. 3:10 today. The Twins at Target Field against the Cleveland Guardians. I'm gonna say Cleveland Indians a few times this season. It's gonna take a while.
Yeah,
I said Baltimore Colts for 5 years. I still say St. Louis Rams. I mean, things take a while when teams move cities. Even though I know the St. Louis Rams were when they were first in St. Louis, I called them the Los Angeles Rams, and then of course, it reversed course, and now I still call them St. Louis Rams. These things happen.
I haven't said Los Angeles Chargers yet. That might have been the first time.
Boy, that's important.
But I had to think about it.
Really think about that one. There's, by the way, neither has anyone in Los Angeles. Nobody cares. I mean, if there's a team with less clout, I mean, maybe the Clippers have less clout than the Chargers, only because at least the Chargers, it is the NFL, and they have Jim Harbaugh now, so they're going to be good soon enough. But, yeah, no kidding. The L.A. Chargers does not exactly roll off the tongue.
No, in fact, you just mentioned that. I was just thinking about everybody's heard about, Stephon Diggs was, just a darling here in Minnesota for a cup of coffee and had some big moments for the Vikings. And then there was that big trade to the Buffalo Bills, and there was a number 2 pick involved. And it really was because of that trade that Stephon Diggs will now find himself in Houston, for crying out loud, with an embarrassment of riches down there. Now look out for that team coming at you. But
as a Titans fan, that is hardly pleasing news. Let me tell you.
Right. No kidding. And that number 2 pick that should have been the Vikings, or could have been the Vikings. I mean, you can't look back on those trades, especially that many years, and bemoan them too much. But yeah, that was a kind of a part of the deal. They're calling it the Twins. Listen to me, Twins on the mind this morning. But the Vikings Bills trade to Houston.
It's. Oof. That's all. It's opening day, and then you mention one NFL trade, and it just derails me completely.
Sorry, me too. I shouldn't even have gone there. But.
Why do we have to do this to ourselves? On the KQ Facebook page, we're asking for your don't think, blink baseball memories. What comes to mind right away?
Yeah,
there's been some great ones. Shelley wrote, going to not whole games with my grandpa at the Met. Rod Carew's 77 season, flirting with a 400 batting average. Boy, I remember that one.
Yeah.
And being at the game when they retired Killebrew's number. It's just so great.
You want the greatest picture on the KQ Facebook post this morning? Scroll down and find Jessica Peterson and check out that photo of Mom in her Twins beanie, by the way, Candace.
Nice.
My son catching the home run ball on Mother's Day.
Aww.
And we were on TV. Happened a few years ago. Look at Mom just going.
That's awesome.
Nuts.
That picture is always right there in her phone when she needs it.
And I kind of want that. Yeah.
There's never been a moment where she had to say, wait, where did I do that picture? Let me find it. It's right there, I guarantee it, as well it should be.
I want that little dude that caught the ball. I want that Twins hat, the winter hat with the, it's got the bear head, or whatever, the Twins bear right there.
TC Bear?
TC Bear, that's it.
My boyfriend.
That's your guy. I forgot about
until it's state fair time, and then she's cheating with Goldie Gopher.
Well,
I forgot about you and TC Bear. That's right. The first time I ever went to Fenway Park in Boston, which is a miserable experience. It's a great, cool old ballpark, but the seats are so uncomfortable. They're tiny. A lot of them are facing away from home plate. Like if you're in left field, you're looking straight at the outfield, and you have to turn to the right. It's bizarre. But in 1990, one of the first times I was ever in Boston, I went to see, and it was in fact an Orioles game, my team. But I was out in Fenway. We were out in the right field. And I ordered the guy comes up the stand, beer here. And so, yeah, man, right here. And I'm 7th in from the aisle, which means 6 sips were taken from that beer. From that guy's hand to mine. It wasn't 6 because it was every other person. But that was the thing at Fenway out in the right field, the hoi polloi seats. If you ordered a beer from that guy, everybody that passed that thing on took a sip. And it was when the first guy took a sip, I thought I'm a Southern gentleman. Are we drawing swords at sunrise? This is a duel, right? I was like, what the hell are you doing? Some dude in a giant Grizzly Adams mustache just
stuck it right in there too. The mustache,
beer foam on his actual mustache, he had a beer stash on a big push broom stash.
Whatever was in his stash is now in your beard.
And then he handed it to one other person who took a sip, and then a person, and I was like, and we were with a person from the record company, and it was my friend Karen. You guys met Karen at the gig here last year, and Karen goes, "That's what we do. Don't no." She saw my face. She's like, "It's cool." I'm like, what do you mean it's cool? I got half a beer by the time it got here. It's completely insane.
Oh, I guess after that you got up to get your beer?
Yeah, well, yeah, I did. It's like, I mean, I'm sorry, but I just thought it was the funniest thing, and actually, it did. I mean, by the end of the game, I was like, "That's so cool the way they do that," because I've had 9 beers.
You were drunk.
And I'm like, "Hey, Boston, all right." Completely nuts. In a few moments, we're going to have a chat with a guy named Tom Garvey, who has a phenomenal book called The Secret Apartment. It's the kind of thing that, I mean, clearly the movie rights are probably, we'll ask him, this could be a whole series, a Netflix series, a really pretty incredible story. Tom Garvey was a Special Forces vet from Vietnam, airborne ranger, came home from the war, long story short, ended up living at Vet Stadium in Philadelphia, kind of under the radar for a while. Tom Garvey now joins us on the KQ Morning Show. Tom, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Steve.
I know I'm hardly the first person to say this, but you got to be kidding me. What a story. We're reading the overview of your book, The Secret Apartment. For a lot of people, this is a dream life. You actually lived in a secret apartment in Veterans Stadium for a few years. That's it, right?
Yes, for 2 years and 4 months, and I was never caught.
That is the greatest. I mean, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard.
It is.
So give us as much as you can the short version of how you go from A to B. You have a job at the stadium, and how does this turn into you suddenly living at the stadium?
Well, my job was unique in the stadium in that I was the only person with an office in Vet Stadium, my own private entrance, and a storage area in the inner stadium where you right under the seats, where you could walk out and see the players on the field. If you walked out my front door of the apartment, about 80 to 90 feet, you'd be standing at the railing on the 200 level, looking down right above the visiting team bullpen. And all the Phillies, the Eagles, and Temple University played all their home games right there. And I had events at the stadium. I had 80 Phillies games. I had all the Eagles games and Temple games. I had rock concerts and other events in Vet Stadium. But across the street, I was also responsible for every event at the Spectrum. And the Spectrum had over 250 events just at that place. That would be the Philadelphia Flyers, the Sixers, rock concerts, all kinds of special events, basketball, you name it. They did everything over there. And so I had an event almost every day out of the year, while other people at Vet Stadium were only working during the Phillies-Eagles season.
Yeah.
And I just hid in plain sight. Nobody took. After a while, I was ubiquitous. People didn't think twice about seeing me there.
People were like, "Man, that guy's always here," and they didn't know that they were speaking literally when they said that. That's incredible. Tom, off the top of my head, off the top of my head. Didn't all in 1980 or 80? Didn't all four teams make the finals? All four teams went into the playoffs. Yeah, and the Eagles went to the Super Bowl. Lost to the Raiders.
The Phillies went to the World Series and won the World Series.
Yeah, Sixers lost to the Lakers.
The Sixers and the Flyers were also in the playoffs that year.
Unbelievable. Yeah, that was Magic's rookie year. Sixers lost to the Lakers. I don't remember who the Flyers played, but I remember that Eagles-Raiders, the first wild card team to win. And then, of course, the Phillies over the Royals. And you're at every one of these events and then going home and living in the stadium. So when you discovered this place, what was the mindset? Like, hey, no one knows this is here, or I could just crash here if I need, or did you walk right in, see this apartment and go, by God, I'm going to live here?
I didn't think about it. I don't take credit for it, thinking about it myself. What happened is, in the spring of 1979, Dick Vermeil hired a new tight end coach. A tight end on the team, Rich Osborne, came to me and said, "Garv," he says, "listen, I'm afraid to I have to sign a lease on my apartment just before we go to summer camp." He said, "I got a funny feeling in my gut. I'm not going to make the team no matter how good I am." Mm-hmm. And he said, "This guy and I, we don't see eye to eye." And he was very interested in Ozzy's off-field life. He knew that Ozzy was dating not one, but two of the Philadelphia cheerleaders.
Nice.
He liked to live on the edge, that Ozzy.
Ozzy was right. He did get cut, but we moved all of his furniture into this storage area that I had, which was an old concession stand that wasn't in use. And so I took Ozzy. Ozzy called me up from Westchester and said he got cut. I picked him up. I took him to the Red Eye in the middle of the night after drinking some beers and shooting pool with him for a while. And he went back to San Antonio waiting for the phone to ring. Months later, I'd forgotten all about the furniture. That's the year that the Pope came to town. And the city of Philadelphia didn't know how to plan for this event because they suspected as many as 1 million people would show up for a mass they were going to have at Logan Circle in downtown Philadelphia.
Right.
That was on a normal working day. This wasn't a holiday. So in addition to everybody coming into the city for work, there may be 1 million people just showing up. So they decided they would open the Vet Stadium parking lots at 4 o'clock in the morning. And they told people, go to the stadium, there's parking for 12,000 cars, take the subway up to City Hall, and walk the short distance from City Hall to where the mass will take place. Okay. I had nobody to work because it was not a planned event. I had less than 36 hours when I got notice of this. So I went to a local bar, and I put together a crew of people that were bartenders, bouncers, and whatnot, and I couldn't trust them to show up at 4 o'clock in the morning sober with all their clothes on. So what we did was I went down to the bar. I stood them for pitchers of beer and burgers upstairs at the back bar, and we took them in cabs and locked them in to have a sleepover at the Vet. That way I had a captive working audience, and they worked the event. That's great. As we were falling asleep in different areas that I prepared for them, we were in that storage room also, and somebody said, if you just cleaned up this room and rearranged the stuff in here, this would be the coolest apartment in the world. I think it was Mike McNally from the Electric Factory. And so that's when the thought came into my head for the first time. And that was the first night I slept there, and I slept there for the next 2 years and 4 months.
I mean, Tom, did you have a chance? Could you come and go freely from Vet Stadium then? And I mean, or did you had to raid the concession stand or something?
No, absolutely. I had my own key. I had my own door.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I didn't have to go through security. And bear in mind, this is 1979. This is way before 9/11. You could never do that today. There are cameras everywhere in the modern stadiums. If you enter those stadiums today, you're picked up right away. They know it because so much hangs in the balance. But back then, there were no cameras. Yeah, and I had my own way in and out, my own door. And I had a golf cart I could drive all over South Philly. Nobody ever bothered me in my golf cart. They didn't think twice of it.
No one's ever done this that we know of. I mean, The Secret Apartment, Vet Stadium, a surreal memoir. By the way, thank you for your service to our country in the Vietnam War. It says here in the book that you threw parties, halftime parties during the Eagles games. Yeah. I mean, you were kind of flaunting it a little bit.
I did flaunt it, but it got out of hand, and it got out of hand, and so I shut that down after a couple of those because that was a little unwieldy, and I would have gotten caught if I'd kept it that.
Yeah,
it was some of the Philadelphia Eagles, their wives, after a game, rather than go out and wait in the cold in the freezing winter for their husbands in the parking lot to come out. And the husbands could be detained as much as an hour after a game, especially if they had some kind of an injury they were looking at. Yeah. So the wives would come around inside the stadium and come into the secret apartment. They'd take their boots off. They'd relax, have a glass of wine, listen to some music on the stereo, and wait for their husbands to come pick them up there. And then we'd all go out to dinner.
Tom Garvey's with us on the KQ Morning Show, The Secret Apartment, his new book. Tom, please tell me somebody's trying to get in touch with you to make a movie out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't talk about that too much. We did sell it to Hollywood.
Great.
The rights were sold to that and to my book about Vietnam, which is a better book. Many Buku Magics is actually a better book.
What's the name of it?
The Secret Apartment.
Give us that name again. What's the first book?
Pardon?
Pardon? What's the Vietnam book called again?
Oh, it's a terrible title. Many Buku Magics.
Yeah, Buku.
In English and French.
Got it. So,
okay. Yeah, it's hard to remember.
No. So that's fantastic. So, I mean, this is not your first book, obviously, is what you're telling us. But this is the one that, my gosh, I mean, what I just can't. To me, if the perfect thing would be if you had been able to set up a camera to capture people's faces the first time they ever walked in.
We have to wrap, guys.
I guarantee you, everybody that walked in there remembers the first time seeing that apartment. Yeah. Tom, I know you got a tight schedule. Tom, thanks so much for giving us a ring, and we will check the book out, and we can't wait to see the movie. All the best, brother.
Thank you very much. I'm very grateful. Thank you.
You got it. Man, that's like, I'll think about this the rest of the day.
Yeah, I'm daydreaming about it right now. I'm trying to pick my stadium, especially back then when now you have specialized stadiums, right? We have Target Field and we have US Bank Stadium. But, back then it was mostly all the Metrodome and the old Metropolitan Stadium. They were all in one stadium. And then he's across the street and he's catching all the Flyers games and the Sixers. And he says here, there's an excerpt, I was like a kid with a Willy Wonka golden ticket. That's the very definition of him. That's better than a Willy Wonka golden ticket as far as I'm concerned. Man, oh man. I don't know, Candace. I think you'd set up well at Target Field. I think you'd do very well there.
Yeah, I'm definitely convinced now.
All right.
Candace is always looking for a break on rent and always looking for, the idea that he had, as he said, his own door. That's the coolest thing in the world. You ever had a job, or do you remember your first job where they gave you a key? Just that alone, like walking up to a place, I'm not breaking in. I'm supposed to be able to open this door. Like there's little things but that's or your first apartment especially is probably a better analogy. But my God, if I had an apartment at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium during those Braves runs of the 90s, don't get me started on Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, I'll start to cry. But for Twins fans today, as he said, not possible now in the world we now live in, but go back to the Met, go back to the day, go back to that 87 World Series year. For all we know, there were 2 or 3 people living at the stadium that the Twins had no idea were living there. It'd be great.
Yeah, that would be great. I thought it was pretty special, the old Midway Stadium over in Energy Park that's now been torn down. But when the Saints were playing there, I had a couple of friends that worked for the Saints, and we thought it was a big deal when we got to go out and throw our own softball games together, on weekends where the Saints weren't playing. But this is a far higher level, pretty wild stuff. So Twins home opener this afternoon, 3:00. We gave away some tickets, and we're just saying the word baseball. Don't think blink. What's your greatest baseball memory? We have the talk and text line open, 651-989-ROCK. You can jump on Facebook if you like, and please hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Thursday, April the 4th. It is opening day for the Minnesota Twins at home. Target Field will be rocking. It's already rocking. They had breakfast on the plaza going a couple of hours ago. Stuff going on all day long. Candace Wheeler and the Richfield 300 will be there all out in left field. It's a very exciting day, Candace.
Very exciting. Yeah, my favorite baseball memory, because I wasn't really alive for the big stuff. I was born in 91, so I guess that's why they won.
Sure.
But the first year that Target Field opened, Jack Hins, who's my friend Colty's dad from Richfield, got us all on the Budweiser roof deck. It was crazy. I had all my friends, all our friends' parents, some teachers. Mr. Weeby was there. It was just crazy Richfield party, and it was amazing.
What did Mr. Weeby teach?
English.
Mr. Weeby, English teacher.
He was the coolest guy ever. And
he taught English?
Yeah, dude. He would just let us do free writes all the time. He helped me through a lot of stuff, actually.
In other words, he just gave you the Richfield 7 a free pass to get him the hell out of town or school or whatever. You mentioned that. You were born in 91. That would have been spring because you recently celebrated your birthday just this week. In 91... that's opening day practically. The Twins might have, found that charge, that inspiration, that reason to win. Candace Wheeler, it's sort of like a baseball messiah being born. They just followed the star all the way to the World Series.
A baseball messiah.
Yeah, our Candace Wheeler.
And on this day, the North Star descended over Richfield.
Yes, I would bring you as one of the 3 wise men, Tony, Steve, and myself. I would bring you a hot dog. That would be my gift.
Yum.
Yeah,
fantastic. I like Candace as the chosen one.
Yeah, I think so. Now, if you could be reborn, you could just have something evangelical. People do that all the time. My brother did it. Maybe we'll get another World Series out of it. We got a division last year, and this team, they're batting it around. I see Jeffers hit a 2-run homer, so they picked one up yesterday. But we'll see. We'll see if this team can stay healthy. That's the thing. We got a couple of big shots on the team that we need to stay healthy.
Yeah, I would say so. We got to get yeah. We were discussing last week, wasn't it? Candace was going to try to become Royce Lewis's personal leg
attendant,
technician.
Yeah, there you go. His leg tech.
The guy's incredible, but from the waist down, he's a mess. We got to keep those legs in shape, man.
I'm sure there'd be a long line of ladies that would love to be his leg tech.
A lot of great baseball memories on the KQ Facebook page. You are free to share a memory with us. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talking text line. We've got a couple people who've got a story to tell. Candace, who's up?
Ryan from Andover.
Ryan, good morning.
Good morning. Hey, how you doing, guys?
We're awesome, man. What do you got for us?
So I'm up here now 10 years from Des Moines, Iowa.
Okay.
And when I was a teenager, I had a friend. We played Little League together, and he was a huge Braves fan.
Okay.
So his uncle takes us in like 95 to St. Louis for a Cardinals-Braves game.
Nice.
A couple hours early, they're warming up. We're getting everybody, both teams, signing all our stuff, our Little League hats, the little program they give you. The Braves that year had a lineup like Steve Avery, Fred McGriff, Javi Lopez, John Smoltz, Dave Justice, Craig Maddox. All these guys sign our stuff, but one guy, third base, Chipper Jones, snubbed us.
Really?
Really?
And my friend was like the biggest Chipper Jones fan at the time. So when he was snubbed, he was emotional. We're teenagers, and that one autograph he wanted, he didn't get. So to this day, anytime he comes up in convo, I cut my hands around my mouth like Will Ferrell and tip my head back, and it's 3 bags of D-bag. Chipper Jones sucks.
Wow. Spoken like Mets fans, actually, but yeah, that checks out. Man,
So my wife is the reason I moved from Iowa to up here, and she's born and raised Minnesotan, but she was born in 87, the year they won it, and her brother, my brother-in-law, was born in 91, the year they won it again. So, yeah, it's a full circle.
Yeah, that's pretty
All
great.
these baseball messiahs out there running around. I love
No
it.
kidding. Hey, appreciate the call, Ryan. All the best, brother.
You too. Thank you.
You know, I was as an Atlanta resident in the 90s, I was riding with those Braves. And that 95 season is when they won that first World Series over the Cleveland then Indians.
Okay.
And that was the beginning of what I fully assumed was going to be the Chipper Jones dynasty. And it was for exactly 1 year until the Derek Jeter dynasty got in the way of things. The Braves were on their way. And in fact, the 96 World Series, the Braves had a 2-0 lead in the World Series. Both those games in the Bronx. They come back to Atlanta for a 3-game stretch at home where if they just win 2 out of 3, they go back-to-back. They lost all 3. And the next one in Yankee Stadium, they got swept in the Final Four. And that was it. Then all of a sudden it was like, wait a minute. I thought we had the hot young guy. Oh, Derek Jeter. He's a flash in the pan, surely. Or not.
Never heard of him.
Or not.
The youngsters, those, I was going to say overpaid, well-paid Yankees, especially back in the 90s, and still doing it to the Twins here. It seemed like season after season. They had more than just the Braves number in the World Series, being in the American League. They've picked on the Twins quite a bit. In fact, there's really no more satisfying win than the Yankees. I mean, the Yankees are probably every team's. It doesn't have to be a border battle, right, with the Yankees everywhere they go. And
of course.
I don't care if it's the middle of the season. I don't care if the Twins are way out of it. The Yankees are, bottom of the barrel or whatever. Just beat the frickin' Yankees.
Of course. I grew up Yankees and Red Sox, equal opportunity hatred as an Orioles fan. They were both the evil empires. Yeah. And then, of course, the Sox went away for a while. Yankees owned it. But then this century, the Sox are the junior Yankees, outspending everybody. And I've been on my high horse forever until just this past offseason when some hedge fund dudes bought the Orioles. And I'm like, oh, get out the checkbooks.
Yeah, come on.
Let's go.
We know you've got millions spending.
Spending frenzy. Let's do it.
That was the big sore spot here in Minnesota for all those years. The Pole lads were not the team that would go out. I mean, they gave Mauer, obviously, the big contract in 10, and that was a huge contract. And you see why they probably did something like that for the hometown guy, Joe Mauer, never played a home baseball game outside the state of Minnesota. I just love to say it. I mean, who else can say that? Maybe there's another, but not that I'm aware of. But they were definitely not the team. They were like, we're going to build it, and we're through the minor league system, and we're going to be scrappers. And that's what that 87 and that 91 team was, and that's the way we're going to do it. And so we hated the Yankees because they bought their championships, but we really just wanted the Whole ads to buy us a championship.
Yeah, of course.
Buy it, man.
Of course you do.
Pay for it. Get the pictures.
651-989 Rock, KQ Talking Text Line. Candace, who we got?
All right, we have Mary Beth from Brooklyn, either Center or Park. I cannot read my handwriting.
One of the Brooklyns.
Mary Beth, good morning.
Good morning. I'm from Brooklyn Park.
Brooklyn Park in the house. What do you got for us, Mary Beth?
Well, I'm calling in about Game 6 of the 91 World Series. My husband and I were lucky enough to have tickets to all the games.
Oh, wow.
And our tickets for Game 6 were in the front row of the outfield.
Nice.
And
Oh, boy.
yeah,
Oh,
there's
boy. Oh, boy. I know where this is going.
Looking like it's going to be a homer. And we saw Kirby making his way to the outfield and totally lost sight of him. Eyes are on the ball.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, he leaps up in front of us, in front of the plexi. His mitt was literally in front of our faces.
Oh, my God.
And he nabbed that ball out of the air. If you look at the replays of it or any image, my husband is the guy standing right above Kirby with his hands up in kind of the victory motion as he catches the ball.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
Your husband, you guys are famous. I've seen you both a million times. I just watched that 2 weeks ago, and I'm getting, seriously, Mary Beth, goosebumps. I'm sure you are, too, because that was just another Kirby moment in that series. And maybe, here I go with the greatest catch of all time. How loud were those Metrodome World Series games, if you could describe it? Anything ever approach that again in your life, how loud those games were?
Not even close. It was crazy. It was fabulous. It was festive. And then to top it off, Joe Souchere made his way down to our spot in the outfield, and he interviewed us about our thoughts about the game. So not only do we have that memory, we have the newspaper article to prove we were there.
Yeah, you do,
Mary Beth. That is awesome. Way to kick off the final hour of the morning with a banger of a story. Well done. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Love the show. Long-time listener.
Great.
Thank
you for that.
I mean, put yourself there, right? I mean, that's what I was doing. So you're not watching Kirby. You're watching the ball. It's way up there. It's coming our way. Holy.
No. I was already dancing.
Yeah,
I was
right.
like, yes, there it is. What?
And this little dude that had like a 24-inch vertical, just all of a sudden there's a mitt in front of your face, the hero of Twins baseball, and there was a bunch of them on that team, but the hero leaps up and grabs that. I mean, I would literally have that dream every frickin' night.
I tell you, man, it really was... I used to say I have an October ulcer because being a Braves fan in the 90s. Now, they punched the ticket in 95, but it was heartbreak every other year for a team that year in and year out was winning, between 95 and 100 games. And it was just beyond gut-wrenching. But that first one, that was actually the easiest one because nobody expected the Braves to even be close to the World Series all season long. And just getting there, it wasn't as devastating. It really wasn't. The next year, and then in 96 and in 98 and 99, those were gut-wrenching losses. But actually, the loss to the Twins, and because Game 7 was such a brilliant performance from both pitchers, it was somehow way easier to swallow. The rest of them were just god-awful. But that one, and as a, just a fan of I'd been to Minneapolis a couple times that year, and I was like, yeah, it's a cool town, great fans, blah, blah, blah. It was okay. That one didn't kill me. In later years, after the Braves lost several other World Series, that's when the Puckett catch came back to be worse. In hindsight, it grew in the amount of pain it caused.
Yeah.
But when it actually happened, it genuinely was, oh, well, okay, then. You're going to do that. Wow. It was just an amazing moment.
Another baseball memory of mine goes back to that 87 series because they were worst to first, sort of like Atlanta was in 1991. Yep. They went from worst in 86 to first, as in winning their division in 87. I think it was maybe one of the worst records to ever make it, winning records to make it to a World Series at that time. And then, of course, they end up winning the dang thing. I moved to Minneapolis moved into my apartment on Lake Street down there October 1st of 1987.
Wow.
First time I'd been living in a big city, and they're already, Twins fever has already gripped the entire city, and so I'm there for the ALCS and then subsequently the World Series, and the entire city and all of the suburbs, Minnesota as a whole, just stopped when the games were being played. I don't care if you're in traffic. Someone here is talking, I'm on the KQ Facebook post here this morning, and I don't even have it in front of me. I apologize. Some lady talking about being stuck in gridlock in traffic during the game and people just getting out, listening to it on the radios and cheering and hugging each other.
Yeah. Oh, it's
I thought, boy, this city, this is a lot of fun. We talked about, who was it? Our buddy that you run into on the walks all the time. Tubby was talking about, there he is delivering to some big mansion on Lake of the Isles some booze during the game, and the lady says, come in, pops the cork on a bottle of wine as they watch Herbeck hit a grand slam. I was calling bingo in Savage down there, Little Six Bingo at the time, and people were, they take their bingo games very seriously. The games would stop. My hand would be outstretched in front of me showing a bingo ball to people for like 15 minutes while we watched Kirby come to the plate or somebody come to the plate and take that bat. It was it was something else, a baseball memory, and they're littered all over the KQ Facebook post this morning. I am looking at Dan's. April of 2019, I arranged for my 98-year-old dad to raise the flag at Target Field before a game. We had over 60 family and friends cheering him on. Dad, a World War II vet, fought in the Battle of the Bulge. Then in March of 45, flew over the Rhine in a glider in combat as part of the 17th Airborne Division, 194A Glider Infantry Regiment. Dad did not seek out recognition, but he was honored to receive it. Something else that happens at a lot of big league, stadiums, but also a big part of Twins memories, and that's pretty cool. I did that all in one breath. How am I doing?
You did great, man.
I'm stoked. I want to go to the game.
I tell you what, it is opening day. It's a very exciting day, and we know we've got a bunch of people that want to share some stories with us. Hang on the phones,
please.
We got to take a quick break. We'll be back as soon as we can, and we want to hear your stories. So hang tight. I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Thursday, April the 4th. Good morning, Twins fans. It is opening day at Target Field. Candace Wheeler will be in the house.
Let's go, Twins. It's going to be a great, beautiful day.
The Richfield 3000. It was 300 earlier. I'm just going to go ahead and call it the Richfield 3000. You guys are all going to be out there in left field having a blast.
Yep.
14 straight every year since 2010.
The 1 year, no, because of COVID.
Well,
but
COVID.
Otherwise, yeah.
Well, but then this would be the 15th, but 14 out of 15, whatever it is. Hey, man, that's awesome. That's an exciting time for all of us. I was in a chipper mood when I got here this morning, but then Candace walked in already swagged out in Twins gear. I was like, man, this is a pretty special day.
Superstitious.
Very, very, very nice day. Hey, but let's just get right to it. Zepp, you got something cool coming up with the Twins.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe I'm just now bringing it up, but always talk about baseball this morning. I want to go to Target Field. I want to bring a few of you with me. Actually, Hoffman Weber Construction, official partner of the Minnesota Twins, is going to pick up the tab, so that's even better yet. Yeah, you and 3 friends join me Sunday, May 5th. I believe the Red Sox are in town. Pretty sure Boston's in town for that one. It doesn't matter, but yeah, Boston on that game May 5th, and all you've got to do, no purchase necessary, none of that stuff, but just go to their website, hwconstruction.com/Zep. That's with 2 P's, or as I like to say it, PP. So hwconstruction.com/Zep. And yeah, free to enter. Just click on the link there, Twins with Zep from 92 KQRS by Hoffman Weber Construction. Again, official partner of the Minnesota Twins. So they probably have some pretty sweet seats. Let's do it.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
Little Cinco de Mayo action out at the Twins Stadium. I might even I don't know, throw a little salsa on my hot dog. I'm thinking about it for Cinco de Mayo out there that day.
Live a little.
Why not? I'm going to get out on the edge. Why not?
Hell yeah. 651-989 Rock is the KQ Talking text line. We've been asking for people's greatest or most visceral, immediately impactful memory when it comes to baseball on this opening day, and we have heard nothing but great stories all day long. We've got someone else on the horn right now, Candace. Who is it?
Ralph from Horse Creek, Wisconsin.
Good morning, Ralph.
Good morning. I used to go watch the Tigers play back in Detroit in the early 70s and late 80s. Yeah. And in the bleachers, people would sit there, and we were called the bleacher creatures. Yep. And people would sneak in beach balls, and they would inflate them and start batting them around. Sure. And whoever hit the ball that went over the edge and into the field, they'd have to stop play. So everybody would yell at that person to throw their beers at them. And that whole area would be all beer for about a 10 section. And nobody could sit there because it was all sticky.
Well, you just had to be drunk.
It was fun, and then Boyd Kuhn was a commissioner, and he thought, well, we'll fix this. We'll only sell 7-ounce beers there. Yeah. Well, people just picked up more beer.
Well, sure.
They made more trips.
Yeah, that just means there's more surcharge on every purchase. That's exactly what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
Then one other night, they were playing Kansas City, and somebody threw an M80 on the field of George Brett.
Oh, good Lord.
And it blew a chunk of turf out of the ground a little bit.
If it's a real M80, it sure did.
Trying to find who did it, and all of a sudden, here come another one. And whoever was doing it got 3 of them out there, 3 little pieces of dirt missing. They never did catch a person, as far as I know.
They're lucky they never got caught, especially if George Brett had caught them.
No kidding. Right. Just point him out to Brett and watch that running. We all know what George Brett looks like when he's running angrily at someone he wants to kill. We've all seen that.
With a wick sticking out.
That's a fact. Hey, Ralph, thanks for the call, brother. That's good stuff. Tiger Stadium, the original, the old school Tiger Stadium in Detroit. I'm astonished to say I never saw a game there. I all the time I spent in Michigan with family, and I never got to the old Tiger Stadium. And as it was getting ready to close, I just remember thinking, like, gotta go. Never did it. Such a regret. I saw most of the ballparks that have been replaced in the last 25 years. I saw the original one, the older one. There's a bunch of brand new ballparks that I had not been to. I hadn't been to Target Field till I got here last year. So there's a few that I got. In the 90s on the road a lot, I was hitting everything. So I felt pretty good. I think I'd seen all but 3, and then a bunch of them have been overchanged now. So I still got a lot of work I got to get done.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. I tell you what, we went from talking about worst to first. We were talking about those 87 Twins, the Metrodome. Listen, a lot of fond memories there. Hell, I used to go up there rollerblading all the time, and I played flag football there. There's a lot of memories, obviously, attached to the Metrodome, but it was not a great stadium by any stretch of the imagination. You talk about Fenway seats pointed away. Well, it was built for the Vikings, but so you get out there for the Twins games. If you're on the third base section, one of those lower sections down there, your seats face slightly away from home plate. You get a little kink in your neck. And then that turf was rock hard. You get the Metrodome bounce on there, and then that ceiling where they lose the baseballs. Now that worked in the Twins' favor, I think. A lot of teams claimed it probably did in the day, and it was a super loud stadium. And then to go to U.S. Bank and Target Field, maybe the 2 finest stadiums. I'd make that argument. Sure. Yeah, we've come around big time.
Yeah, as upgrades go, I mean, that's 2 for 2 in a huge way, to be sure. We've got a few other people want to chime in while we can. Candace, who else is on the KQ Talking text line?
Joe from Columbia Heights.
Joe, good morning.
Hey, how you doing, Steve?
We're great, brother. What do you got for us?
I have a story that Brian Zepp can relate to. I enlisted in the 82nd Airborne, 3rd at the 325th, the Mighty Blue Falcons, in May of 1987.
Outstanding. Thanks for your service.
Oh, cool. So to get in shape, I decided to sell beer at the Dome during the season to run up and down those stairs.
Yeah.
And my ship-out date was August 11th, and around sometime in August, I was in the left field corner, and I just bought a brand new rack of beer to sell. I set the rack down. I was just inside the foul line, and I hear the crack of the bat. I knew Kirby Bucket was up, and I was handing 2 beers, and I didn't even have to look. And there went my brand new rack of beer, which I had to pay for.
Yeah.
So I shipped out on August 11th, got down to Fort Benning, Georgia, to Harmony Church, and as Zepp will tell you, you get no information. You're not allowed to read newspaper. You don't listen to radios. You don't get to watch television. So we go out on what's called a field training exercise. It's the last thing you do before you graduate from basic training. And we go out there and we do our thing, and I'm in my foxhole, and we're waiting for an attack from the enemy, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden my drill sergeant walks up to me, and it's around 10, 11 o'clock at night. He goes, Joe, the Twins just won the World Series.
Oh, wow.
I didn't even know they were in the World Series.
Holy cow, man.
So I jumped out of my foxhole, one single leap. I'm pounding my chest, screaming and yelling, yeah. And he says, you got it out of you? And I go, yeah. He goes, get back in your hole.
Yeah.
That is outstanding.
And you know that at the end of basic training, they do lighten up just a little bit. That probably wouldn't have happened week one, but yeah, that's outstanding, man. You were saying.
So since that day, I have never watched a single one of those 87 series games. I've seen highlights. I've listened to people talk about them. But I like the memory of just that night in the dark Georgia freaking forest.
In the clay, baby. Down in the clay.
You know, and then I come home in 91 after the Gulf War, and they win it again. And everybody's telling me, well, you got to go back in the Army again, Joe, so the Twins will win the World Series again. You know?
Well, get her done, buddy. Come on.
Whatever it takes. Take another hit for the Twin Cities, brother. Hey, that's a great memory. Thank you for sharing it with us. Cheers.
No problem. You guys have a great day. Go Twins.
I love a guy who says, I want to keep the memory like I have. I'm not going to watch the highlights. I think that's the coolest part of that whole story.
That is cool. I'm not sure I could have done that, but yeah, what a memory. And yeah, I can only imagine, man. And he's right. They didn't tell you anything, golf or anything like that. People were like, what was happening? I'm like, I don't know. I was a grunt. I was enlisted. You knew more watching CNN than I knew. But yeah, wow, what a memory.
That's pretty fantastic. Candace, who else we got on the call? On the phone, I should say.
Steve from Minneapolis.
Steve, what's up, brother?
Hey, good morning, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What do you got for us?
Yeah, quick story, baseball memory. So 87 Twins, Cardinals, World Series. My baseball team, I think we were in like sixth grade or something, but somehow we were like a Minneapolis all-star team. We were selected to kind of be present at a pre-World Series party at the Pillsbury Tower, downtown Minneapolis. And so my whole team was there. We're in our uniforms. All the players are there, and, owners and media, whoever else. We pretty young. So we were just kind of hanging out. And I get in the elevator, and onto the elevator comes Kent Herbeck. Ooh. And, I think I may have said, hi, Mr. Herbeck. And he said, hey, kid. And he gave me a souvenir bottle of Budweiser. It was empty, of course. One of those old ones, the smaller ones. I think they were 12 ounces, but like different, definitely differently shaped. And he's like, "Here, kid, this is yours." I'm like, "Wow, thanks, Mr. Herbeck." And he said, "Frame it." Which everybody started laughing. I don't think you can frame a beer bottle. But after we got off the elevator, I did say, hey, hit a home run. And he said, I will. And then I think it was either game two. I was at the game and he hit a grand slam.
Yeah.
And I still have that beer bottle in the basement, in a drawer or something. But I've held on to that thing all these years.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great, man. Thank you so much for the call. We appreciate it. Opening day, 3:10 today, first pitch, Guardians in town. I'm excited about baseball in the afternoon. Woo! Candace, have a great time in the game today.
Thank you. Yes, go Twins.
Go Twins, go Twins, go Twins. Let's look back. On this day in 1997, it was opening day in Atlanta. The Braves opened Turner Field, their brand new stadium. And that was the day I never spent one more penny on the Atlanta Braves because the year before it had been known as the Summer Olympic Stadium. It was converted for baseball. The Braves got a free stadium courtesy of the Summer Olympics, and they raised their ticket prices 35%.
After they got a free stadium.
I've been pissed off at them ever since. So there you have it. You jacked your ticket prices, your merch prices, your concessions. Reality bites, and it bit my ass that year, and I was pissed off, and I'm still mad about it. That's me. What are you going to do?
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.